champagne all round, and put it on my tab.
Diverting late-night football conversation for prostitutes.
How dare you!
Chronic back pain sufferers.
Done the old back again.
And security guards who haven't quite nodded off yet. Wake up!
The Michaels, Graham and Parry on Talk Sport. For when two mics are better than one.
Look at the light! I've been reading all these stories about tumble air dryers blowing up.
Tumble air dryers?
Yeah, and tumble air dryers are blowing up.
Tumble what?
Tumble air dryers.
Oh, tumble air dryers?
Yeah, not hair.
Tumble dryers?
No, they're tumble air dryers.
Tumble dryers?
They're not, they're tumble air dryers.
Why are they tumble air dryers?
Because they tumble around with hot air being pumped through them.
Yeah, but they're not called tumble air dryers.
They are. Well, I've had dozens of tumble air dryers, so I know they're called tumble air dryers, okay? But I don't have one anymore because of the fact that they might blow up and set fire to your kitchen.
This is Talk Sports. We are the two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say it's time to say a very, very good morning and the beginning of the week to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yes, a good morning to you, Mike. You have seen the start of a revolution. What you saw at Anfield on, was it Saturday?
It was Saturday.
It is the start of a revolution. Everybody now is going to cotton on to what the Liverpool fans have done. The Liverpool fans have started a movement which is going to end up with fans getting much reduced prices for their season tickets. It's absolutely pathetic that the more money that football clubs get from TV deals, the more they seem to want to push up the prices. Because what they're doing is, it's called a reverse economic strategy, which you wouldn't understand, but I did study economics. Well, the reverse economic strategy is that the more money that's pumped into a business, then the people running it say this is a very valuable business. And as this has become a more valuable business, we're going to charge more for people to have access to our business.
Why is that a reverse economic strategy? Why is that just a normal economic strategy?
No. The normal economic strategy should be that as our revenues are now going up from other sources, we can afford to reduce the cost borne by our shareholders.
Surely it's the law of supply and demand, isn't it?
No, it's not law of supply and demand at all.
Which is very basic economics.
No, it's not the law of supply and demand at all.
The elasticity of the ticket price is directly in proportion to the number of people who are willing to pay that money to go and see them.
It certainly is, and that's been completely misjudged by the Fenway Group because Liverpool fans have now made it absolutely clear they're not going to pay for the increased charges that the owners want to put onto them. And the thing that's most riled the Liverpool fans, of course, who actually, since the days of Bill Shankly, are more recognised as sort of homegrown, integrated fans of their club than any other club, I think, in this country, is they're starting calling them customers. Yeah. When you start to call your fans customers, I'm afraid that you and the board have moved apart.
You know that thing that we spotted last week where they said how to turn fans into customers?
Yes.
Apparently they've now changed that and they've taken it off their website.
It doesn't matter. You can see which way they were thinking, and that's a very American thing, isn't it? When we saw the old Super Bowl last night and all that, and the amount of razzmatazz that surrounds that.
Yeah, did you watch it?
No,
because I want to talk about the Super Bowl, because I thought it was great.
Well, you can talk about it if you like, but I mean...
I was hoping to get your view.
Well,
you didn't even watch the start of it?
No, I didn't know. No, I have no interest in it. I don't blame people who have. It can be very exciting and very colourful. But, I mean, I read a statistic this morning that the first two quarters took an hour and 40 minutes.
Probably so, yeah.
Well, I mean...
that's normal, though.
It should have taken 30 minutes, you know.
Well, that's normal, though. I mean, the whole game takes between sort of 3.5 and 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just too long. It just goes on and on and on and on, you know. And also, I saw some of the players celebrating in the locker room afterwards, and they were more interested in the quality of the new suits for the celebration party than they were in actually indulging in the analysis of the game and how they won it. I suppose that's because there's not much to indulge in, really, is there?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of analysis to do.
Basic sort of game,
yeah, I mean,
really.
there was plenty of analysis to do. Martin O'Neill, of course, was famously sort of roped into it all. He was dragged up to the commentary box by the guys who were producing it for the BBC.
And so was Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, and so was Lewis Hamilton.
Who I didn't realise
who loves the game, apparently.
Yeah, he does. He
says he's
a
Denver fan because he's got a home in Denver.
Well, not only he's got a home in Denver, he spends, I didn't know this either, a lot of the winter in Denver practising, his car, skiing,
testing.
No, testing the cars.
Oh, does he?
Testing the
cars.
In
the snow?
No, on a track.
Oh, right.
On a track, you idiot.
Oh, right.
What would
be an idiot for? Well, because it snows a lot in Denver. That's one of the things.
Well, that's where they go and test the cars in the winter.
I wonder why they would go there.
Well, I've no idea.
Surely they'd go somewhere where there wasn't any snow, wouldn't they?
I thought they went to Barcelona, but I know they go there.
Maybe it's before that.
Talking about skiing, by the way.
Yeah.
Talking about skiing, old Beth Twaddle.
Yeah.
Tweddle. The poor girl has done her back in.
It's not Beth Twaddle.
Well, Beth Tweddle has done her back in because she's on this ski thing.
That's the jump.
Yeah, the jump. Yeah, that's the fourth injury.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's going on there, but anybody who's mad enough to think that 1 minute you can be a pedestrian walking the street, put one foot in front of the other, and the next you can go flying through the air sort of
Eddie the Eagle style.
Eddie the Eagle style, but
Yeah.
not even as good as Eddie the Eagle, who was the worst ski jumper in the history of
but at least he
Olympic
could do it,
sport. At least he could get off the end of the old ramp.
Yeah.
But it's always intrigued me as to how do you train a ski jumper.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you give him a 3-foot ramp, then a 5-foot ramp, then an 8-foot ramp,
I suppose
then a 10-foot ramp?
I suppose so.
I don't think you do. I don't know how you can do
But
it.
you
but
can't
anyway.
just go to the very top of this huge hill,
Yeah.
right, and then, which is a very narrow entry, and then just let yourself go.
Yeah.
And then when you get off the end of it, just try your best to land as safely as possible.
No, that's right, because you are a missile flying through the air.
Yeah.
But I wonder what would happen if you suddenly, remember, you suddenly woke up and you're standing at the top of a ski jump, somebody pushed you, and you're going down. Well, what would you do? What would you do?
Well, you couldn't stop, could you?
No, what would you do?
What, you mean if I found myself at the very top?
Yes.
But without having set off?
Yeah, no, and somebody's just pushed you, and now you're on your way down the slope.
I'd have to rely on all my skills as a skier to make sure that I landed properly.
Yeah, but how would you do it?
Well, I don't know. I've no idea. I mean, all I see when they take off is that they try to keep their skis together.
And they lean forward.
lean very far forward.
They lean forward.
And then
keep
when they
the skis
land,
going.
they try to keep their knees as bent as possible.
That's right.
But it all sounds very good in theory. I'm not sure that any of that would work in practice.
Well, you'd die if that happened to you. You'd collapse in a heap from 100 feet up and kill yourself. You'd land on your head or something.
It's very possible.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, it's a bit like diving off a high ball, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I don't know how high if you were into diving in the school team or anything like that, were you?
No, but I mean, used to do a bit of swimming and all that kind of stuff, social, like everybody else. And I always loved jumping off the highest board just to show how macho I was. You know, we used to do it at Butlins actually.
Butlins,
yeah, we used to
what
go
was
there.
The high board at Butlins?
Well, it was very high.
10 metres.
No, it was very high. There was
10 metres.
There was the low, the intermediate, and the high one.
You sure they didn't just have one of those springboards that you jump up and down on?
No, I mean there were springboards, and I fell off one of those once because I was kind of bouncing along it and thinking it was secure and solid, and it wasn't. It was springy, and it actually tipped me on my head.
Right,
and
that could explain a lot.
And it pitched me into the swimming pool from a great height.
Yes. Well, we've got lots of that sort of thing to talk about. We're talking to a guy coming up from New York, funnily enough, because one of the things about the whole Liverpool walkout, right?
Yes.
And lots of calls that TalkSport's taken over the course of the day.
Yeah.
Is that people say, well, the thing is, we look around all the time, we don't recognise anybody that's all around us. And surely at one point, and I'm not saying that they were wrong to do what they did, you've got to admit that there are going to be Liverpool fans from around the world that want to come and see Liverpool play.
Yeah, well, I suppose so, but not at £77 a seat. I wouldn't have thought, because it's just wrong that the Liverpool think now that we're more exclusive because we've got a quote better stadium that they're rebuilding. Therefore, more people want to come to see us.
Yeah,
that's the point at which the Fenway people have lost the focal point of what Liverpool are all about, and that is a football club to win trophies, not to provide better seats for the fans if they're not providing something on the pitch to which the fans want to flock in to the stadium to witness on a weekly basis.
What I'm asking you, is it realistic to not believe that there are going to be people who are football tourists, if you like, coming to the ground to buy tickets?
Well, yeah, every club's got its quotes football tourists, but they are actually fans. They're not people who just say, I think I'll go to England and, can I choose a football club to go and watch a game at? These people come from Norway every week. They come from, lots of them come from America, actually. Yeah. I remember when I was in, where was I? I think I went to Glasgow with Al to watch an Old Firm derby at Celtic. Right. Yes, I did, that's right. And afterwards we got invited to the hotel across the road, and this bunch of people from Newark, New Jersey had arrived, Celtic fans. There was about 250 of them. Right. I mean, these were mass interlopers into the Scottish football scene who'd come for that week.
And by definition, they're not going to be able to go every week, are
they?
So they're only going to go once in a while. So,
exactly.
there are going to be some seats that will have to be made available for people who want to pay that kind of money, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose.
But it's a fascinating situation because there's now calls for a boycott of one weekend's Premier League games, which I don't know will ever come to pass.
Well, you never know. There was one, I saw one commentator in one newspaper this morning who clearly didn't understand the principle at all, the working man and all that, and equated the fact that when the Liverpool fans left on 77 minutes, they were 2-0 up, and they ended up at 2-2. Yeah. And said that they were directly responsible then for their team losing the advantage of 3 points, and therefore it was a completely,
pointless exercise.
Shot yourself in your foot type exercise. I mean, this person obviously didn't gather or grasp what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So
well, there's a lot of that out there, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that don't grasp what's going on.
That's right. Yeah.
You were an expert on something earlier on in the day, which
I
want to talk to you about.
What's that?
No, well, I'll tell you in a minute.
I'm an expert on quite a lot of things.
I know you
actually.
are, yeah, but this one
including Beaujolais Red Wine, which has now been voted the best in the world,
What?
which I want to tell you all about later in the show.
Yeah, well,
you're a wine snob.
Not at all.
You're a wine snob. You've always mocked me when I said I like Beaujolais.
No, Beaujolais fine.
Beaujolais great.
It's just not that great.
It's been voted the best in the world,
By
mate.
who?
It's a
Beaujolais
rich,
wine
cheeky
growers.
taste, and you have no appreciation of it whatsoever because. I think your throat's burnt out with 60 fags a day that you smoke, and I doubt if you can taste anything these days at all.
Is that what you
I
think?
think you just guess. I think you look at a label and guess.
Right, okay. Are you finished?
No, but I'll continue soon.
He'll continue soon. We'll look forward to that. This is Talk Sport.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as hoes. Yeah, but maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. We've got winners and losers coming up a little bit later on, of course. Lots of other exciting things too. We're going to be talking about eagles and their ability to divert drones or otherwise attack them with an eagle expert from the United States of America.
I believe in an eagle. That was an ABBA song.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe in an eagle.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it is. It's a famous ABBA song.
What's the name of it?
Eagle.
Eagle?
Yeah, it is.
By
yeah.
ABBA?
Yeah,
Are you
Eagle by
sure?
ABBA. Yeah, I'm certain, honestly. We'll have a look for it now, and I'm certain
sure we
that
can
John will find it.
Listen, going back to...
And a dream of an eagle, I think it is. And a dream of an eagle.
A dream of an eagle.
Yeah.
I know, definitely haven't heard that one.
No, it's definitely...
Here's one from Russ in Birkenhead. Porky, did you ever go to New Brighton Baths and dive or jump off the high board there?
Probably. It was an open air one, that.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
like
like
a
a
Lido.
Lido. That's right, yeah. And the
Probably was
answer
a
to that
Lido,
is
in
yes,
fact.
that's right.
Yeah.
Birkenhead, a fine city, the home of my mother, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to say to you, you mentioned
Yes.
there's been other injuries on this show, Jump, which Darren Gough went on, didn't he not, a couple of years ago?
Did he?
Rebecca Adlington has already pulled out,
That's right.
as has Tina Hobley.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's blinking dangerous, but anyway, if they want to do it, that's
I
fine.
wonder what the insurance must be to get
Well,
people to go on
it
that
must
show.
be pretty good. But the latest lady, Beth Tweddle, is it?
Tweddle, yeah.
Beth Tweddle. She's apparently...
gymnastics champion.
Yeah, she's a gymnastics champion, so the good shape of her body is actually quite important to her.
Right.
And according to the reports I've read, she has fractured 2 vertebrae in her back.
That's right.
Now, that's equivalent to breaking your back.
I know.
I mean, you're not very far from fracturing a vertebrae to paralysing yourself.
Yeah.
And...
But I don't think she's actually competing anymore at a gymnastics level, but she won a medal
but
at,
nevertheless,
London
I mean...
2012.
Yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying is she's got the body of a gymnast, and there are always things that you do later in life. You know, she might sometimes take part in some veterans promotional show or something like that. Or
I don't
whatever,
think they do that
in
in gymnastics.
Or whatever, I think they do.
I don't
but
think
anyway.
they can do it in tennis, right?
Anyway.
They do it in golf. They even do it in football, but I don't think they do a veterans gymnastics competition.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
That wouldn't work very well.
I'm sure they do.
Well, how could they do that?
It'll happen. It'll happen. Believe me,
I don't
honestly.
think so.
Honestly, you've got no vision. That's your problem.
Yeah, I've got lots of vision. Now, tell us about this expertise you were showing this, earlier on today on the buses, I think it was.
Well, it wasn't any expertise. I was asked to comment on the incident involving the blowing up of a bus on Lambeth Bridge near the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
For a film being made by, I don't know who it's been made by, but Pierce Brosnan's in it.
Oh, right. I thought it was a Jackie Chan film.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Jackie Chan, but he's an actor, isn't he?
Well, he is, yeah. He's a sort of kung
well, he's
fu
not
kind
making
of
it then, is he?
kung fu comedy guy.
Well,
he's probably in charge of his production company.
Well,
I
he
would
might
imagine.
be, yeah. But anyway, and Pierce Brosnan as well. Pierce Brosnan, by the way, is playing Jerry Adams, the...
Oh, is he?
The man...
The Sinn Féin guy.
The Sinn Féin guy, the man linked to the IRA for all these years. And he looks hauntingly like him. It's unbelievable.
Does he?
Yeah, I've seen some stills from the film.
Yeah.
Hauntingly like him.
Right.
It's early. But anyway, I was going to say that Pierce Brosnan, in fact... I said that there should be many, many more, film set type things happening on the streets of London, like they do in New York.
Right.
In New York, the police department have got a 50-strong unit who look after nothing but film sets on the streets of New York City.
That's right.
Well, we should have one of those here.
Well, mind you, you're always complaining about the traffic. Imagine if they were if you were driving up through the Elephant Castle and somehow you were rerouted because they had closed off a whole section of the street.
You do it in the middle of the night, or you do it on Sundays or things like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, you do it in iconic areas, like Trafalgar Square and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
The problem is that like New York, when I lived in New York and they used to close off whole sections of streets. It used to really wind me up because they'd be trying to stop me from walking down the street.
You know,
they try to, stop me from going into 42nd Street or something like that. I'm not keen on that.
I came out of an apartment one morning in New York. It was a Sunday morning, I remember, and turned onto 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
And there was a huge white yacht on the back of a lorry.
Right.
And it was the filming of Romancing the Stone.
Oh, yeah.
You know the last shot of Romancing the Stone when he eventually finds the diamond inside the alligator.
Yeah.
And he's got alligator boots on because he's obviously killed the alligator and skinned it. But with the proceeds, he's bought that fantastic yacht that he sails away with. He
takes it down the street to show her, right?
Yeah, he does, takes it down the street on the back of a lorry.
I saw them filming Ghostbusters. I saw them filming...
Ghostbusters, that's right, I remember that.
All sorts of different movies around that time. Very busy period. But I don't think you'd want to encourage that, because I was actually sent a thing from one of our listeners on Twitter a bit earlier on today, suggesting that Boris Johnson's got another plan for 3 more cycle superhighways.
Well, he's mad. The ones he's got in already don't even work.
Right.
The best filming in the city of London, or London, never mind the city being the square mile, but the best filming in London was always the Sweeney and the sort of run-down Dockland areas, wasn't it?
That's
always
right.
fantastic.
But what about that great boat race in one of the James Bond movies?
Well, I just said that was Pierce Brosnan. I said Pierce Brosnan was involved in this one, and the last most famous one was the Dome and the boat that shot out of MI6 and then racing up and down the river and didn't... Somehow, Pierce Brosnan ended up falling on the roof of the Dome. Oh, he fell off from the balloon.
Yeah.
The girl escaped in a balloon.
The balloon,
yeah, that's right.
That would have been it,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Here's one from Eccles, who says...
Eccles. That's the name of a dog, isn't it?
Everton's most expensive...
That was the dog who found the World Cup, Eccles.
Eccles, was it?
Yeah, it was the dog who found...
the name of an Eccles cake.
Yeah, it found the...
It says Everton's most expensive ticket is £49, which I'm not sure what relevance that has to what you were saying.
It's not, actually, because... the £49 is the most expensive ticket if you buy it from the ticket office, if you see what I mean.
Right.
But, without getting all the accusations I normally get of, what you do that for? If you buy a season ticket in one of the lounges... It can work out an awful lot more expensive than that. It works out about £80 a seat or something like that. But it's well worth it, and it's if that's what you want to spend your money on, and a lot of people do, that's fine.
The thing is, football being football, there will always be a market for people to spend an awful lot of money in hospitality and all of that. But I guess for the basic seat is what this argument is about, is why should you be paying that much money for just a basic seat?
Exactly, yeah.
Paul is in support of you. It's nice to hear Porky supporting the Liverpool fans protest.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, they've started something revolutionary there. And you've got to understand that what you can say about Liverpool fans is that they literally have their finger on the pulse of the footballer fans' brain.
Yeah.
They're not. Sometimes there are groups of fans at some clubs who are branded as sort of, I don't know, plastics, or they're branded as sort of, bandwagon jumpers, or they're just branded as sort of, I don't know, a nuisance, protesters against things that don't matter.
Yeah.
But actually what the Liverpool fans are doing here is the start of a movement. And it's a bit like the Luddites, right? That was the start of a movement.
Yes.
That was a negative movement.
You're still part of that now.
No, I'm not. I'm still part of it.
You're still a Luddite.
But it ended up, with it sweeping across the country. Now, I wasn't in favour of the Luddite movement because it held back technology, it held back development, held back progress.
Exactly.
But I'm in favour of this one because... At the end of the day, you've got to say, where does it all end? Because what's happening is the working man's being forced out of football grounds in favour of the corporate.
Yeah.
And that's not good. That is not good. Under any circumstances, you've got to protect the working man who's been there for so many years and must now not be shown the door in favour of somebody who's more wealthy.
But who didn't revolt at the £55 price, but are now revolting at the £77 price.
Well,
the £55 is not
yeah.
very cheap either.
No, it's not.
Frank says this on text 81089.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi, Tue Mikes. Liverpool should have built a 70,000-seat stadium. If they have identified a clientele prepared to pay £75 or £77, they could have satisfied them and also the 22,000 rank-and-file grassroots supporter."
I'm not sure they did. You see, I'll tell you the grip that football has on the average family's economy these days, right? Remember a couple of weeks ago I went to buy a new washing machine?
Yes.
Right.
Well, you told me you wanted to buy a blue one.
Yeah, well, I couldn't get a blue one.
Get a blue one in the end?
No, got a white one.
No.
So anyway, I ended up going to one of these sort of mega stores, right? And I'm walking round, and then I'm walking round, and I'm walking round,
right.
and I'm walking round.
Nobody's coming to help you.
No. I walk up this aisle and down that aisle. Do you know the only thing I can see?
What?
The only thing I can see are televisions.
Yes.
And I mean millions of them, right? So eventually I get hold of an assistant and I say, "Oh, hello." I said, "How are you?" He said, "Great." I said, "Look, I looked on your website, and in addition to selling televisions, of which you have about 8 million,
right.
I've come here for a washing machine. Where's the washing machines, please? I mean, where is the washing machine section?
Yeah.
Is it another...
Are you sure you're in the right shop?
Oh, yeah. Is it another...
television shop.
Is it another huge warehouse, you know, with all the white stuff in it, you know, using the vernacular for the
Very
stuff that's
good,
in the kitchen, you know what I mean?
Even though you wanted a blue one.
And he said, oh, you want a washing machine? He said, oh, look, go up there, turn left. No, it's just behind that. Oh, all right, thank you. There were 2 washing machines.
2?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 2 models.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
So I've been to a similar place not that long ago.
Yeah.
And they had quite a big section of washing machines and televisions and everything else.
So when I said to this guy, I said, that's not very many washing machines. He said, no. Well, he said, it's all about televisions these days. I said, what do you mean? He said, because of the football, he said, people renew their televisions every season.
Right.
He said, it's now
What do they
become
do
a
with the
ritual.
old ones?
I've no idea. He said, you know, television get updated, new technology, the curved one is now the thing for this season, all that kind of stuff.
That's crazy, though, isn't it?
And
I mean, surely, but then, I mean, those new curved ones, those whatever they're called, the new 4D or whatever they're called, 4K, I think now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like thousands.
Yeah, I know. And I said, so why have you got no wash? He said, no. He said, we have noted from our research that because so much money is spent on television for people to watch football, much less money is being spent on washing machines.
Yeah.
So a washing machine that used to last maybe 5 years before, you know, somebody in the house said, this washing machine's getting knackered and it's slowing down, we need a new one, it's full of grime and we can't clean it properly, that now has to last 7 years because the priority within any family budget household is a television.
Well, that's mad.
And as for dishwashers, they've given up selling them.
Have they?
They actually said, we've given up selling them. I said, why? They said, because they won't buy new dishwashers anymore. They want a new telly.
Right.
You can't watch Manchester United versus Liverpool on the front of a dishwasher.
That's true.
But you can watch it on a television.
Yeah. So what washing machine did you end up getting then? One of the 2 they were selling?
Yes.
Which one?
Indesit.
Indesit.
Is it?
Very good.
Is it Indesit? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's working all right?
Eh?
Is it working all right?
How would I know?
Well, I don't know.
I don't use it.
Well, you must. Well, why do you even buy it then if you don't use it? Why don't you get the person who uses it to buy it and then she would get the right one?
Because she would have to have gone and, you know, it's all about paying for it and all that kind of stuff. That's all I did, went there and paid for it. And I had it delivered when she was there.
Well, now I know why you're so busy during the day.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have corrected you on Eccles. Apparently, it was Pickles.
Pickles, that's the one, thank you.
The World Cup, says Sue in Tunbridge. Says
Thank
Tom.
you. Thank you very much.
And also Ian.
Yes.
And also F.
I concede to that.
And all sorts of people. He said William
Eccles, in fact, is the name of a town in Lancashire that produces the Eccles cake.
Well, I said Eccles cake earlier.
Yeah, what is in the Eccles cake?
Eccles cake's got like mincemeat in it, hasn't it?
No.
Yeah, it has. It's like a mince pie.
No, Eccles is full of raisins.
No, but it tastes like a mince pie.
No, it
it's got
doesn't.
that same flavour.
No, it's full of raisins.
I had one at the weekend. It tastes exactly like a mince pie.
Yeah, but it didn't come from Eccles, though, did it?
No, it came from Battle.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying.
But it
so you got a
called a
real
Battle
Eccles cake.
Yeah.
Actually, I hope we're not confusing it with the Pontefract cake.
I think you might.
No, the Pontefract cake is made of licorice.
Is it?
It is, yeah, it's a licorice cake.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's not even a cake, it's a bit of licorice. Yeah, it's very nice
I've
as well.
Bernadine from Darwin in Lancashire who says, you are right, Mike, I'm a huge ABBA fan and they brought out a song called Eagle.
Eagle, thank you very much indeed.
I've never heard that.
I'm waiting for John to find it there behind the glass.
We may have to listen to that.
The search is still going on, as I understand.
It wasn't about Crystal Palace, was it?
No, of course not. No.
Eagle famously is the mascot down there, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that later on.
About that. Yeah,
but unfortunately, time is against us.
Right.
Because we've got lots to do. We've got Darren Kennedy, I should say, coming up in a little while from New York. He's from the Liverpool Supporters Club.
Okay.
Much more from us as well.
Good.
Next on TalkSport.
Yeah.
2 TalkSport teams are about to go big as they take on the Heinz Big Soup Challenge on TalkSport. Listen to Colin Murray next Tuesday from 10 as the 2 intrepid teams test their strength and speed against a hardened professional rugby player in a tough tackling rugby showdown. Don't miss the Heinz Big Soup Challenge every Tuesday on the Colin Murray Show on TalkSport with Heinz Big Soup. Heinz Big Soup. Go big or go hungry.
Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
Here in the urban jungle, we see 2 impressive specimens, the agile MG3 and the larger MG6. And now you can explore MG with offers including free insurance, interest-free credit, great part exchange and free weekends away. See mg.co.uk/offers.
MG3 Insurance is underwritten by Allianz Insurance PLC. MG3 and 6 finance subject to status. 18s and over. Financed by MG. 0% representative APR. Terms and conditions apply. Visit mg.co.uk for details.
Kick off with 100% football on Talk Sport, official partner of the Barclays Premier League.
Oh my word, he's done it again!
This Sunday from noon, exclusive national radio commentary of Arsenal versus Leicester.
Wow!
Followed by Villa versus Liverpool, with full updates of every single Premier League game throughout the season. Official partner of the Barclays Premier League. Talk Sport.
I never heard that. I didn't know that song.
Never heard that song?
No, I never heard it.
It's the first track.
Was it a single?
No, it wasn't a single, but it's the first track of the sort of third ABBA LP or something.
Okay.
And the one comes after the song that comes after that is that rather. I don't think it was a single either. It was Take a Chance on Me.
Oh yeah,
I
know that one. Yeah,
when you're
I'm pretty
all,
sure that was a single.
When you're all alone,
yeah, all right.
And the pretty birds have flown, honey. 1, 2, 3. Take a chance.
So you know all the words to all
take
the
a
ABBA
chance,
songs.
Take a chance. Take a chance. Hey,
have you seen John Lennon's hair's up for sale, by the way?
That's outrageous.
Why
isn't
is it outrageous?
Utterly outrageous.
A lot of people suggested
ghoulish
you
is
might
that?
want to buy some of it, but who on earth has got hold of his hair to sell it?
How ghoulish is that? How horrible and ghoulish. Honestly, those sort of things drive me absolutely mad. Talking about
yeah,
Beatles,
but there are people who think that anything belonging to any sort of celebrity is not only one, worth some money, but also two, is sort of generally anybody's property.
Sure. Talking about Beatles, by the way, there was a bit of info around over the weekend that Paul McCartney, who I've never regarded particularly as a sort of real ale man or anything like that, produces his own beer down on his estate in Sussex.
Well, I suppose he quite likes the old self-sufficiency, good life style stuff.
Well, that's true.
Because he's a vegetarian, isn't he?
And he produces hops and that sort of stuff, right? Now, he lives down in a place called Rye.
Yeah, it's Peasmarsh, I think.
Peasmarsh is the exact place.
Round the back of Rye.
Round the back of Rye. And everybody, when he first went there, the humble beetle and all that, he claimed he bought this little cottage.
Yeah.
And he said, that's all Linda and I want to do, bring our kids up in a cottage, a few chickens, doing around, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And one time I was sent down there to find McCartney about some issue, whatever it was. I don't know what it was when I was a reporter. And in fact, I mean, it's about a 300-acre estate.
Yeah, I imagine it is, yeah.
And you can't...
With a great big front gate, presumably.
Well, there's several gates, and they're all private roads and all this kind of stuff, and all, all the daft idea.
Actually, fine, because in those days, without any sat-nav, it's quite difficult to find a place like that.
Of course it is, yeah, and all this idea.
That's like the time I had to try and find Burt Reynolds' house.
Yes.
Did I ever tell you that story, when Burt Reynolds went sort of missing during the middle of the 80s? Nobody knew where he was, and there was all sorts of rumours that started happening about the fact that he was ill.
He was dead or something.
Well, not that he was dead, but there was something seriously wrong with him.
Yes.
And he had this big house in a place called Jupiter, Florida, and Jupiter's one of these private islands, which is sort of in between, the coast and the
sort of place that Tiger
that.
Woods might live on.
Exactly, yeah. And what they had in this private island, which we didn't know, is you went past a sort of a checkpoint, but they didn't really stop you; they just let you go.
Yeah.
But what they had was a sort of a metal bar running underneath the road, so that they could track the cars, so that if you stopped anywhere, they could basically come and find you, which is what happened. So we stopped the car outside what we thought was Reynolds' house.
Yes,
massive, great big gate.
Yes.
Couldn't get inside. And we thought, well, maybe we'll just sit here for a while and see what happens.
Did you press the buzzer?
I think we did, yeah, and there was no answer.
No answer, no.
But you could barely see the house. It was that far away.
Right.
And anyway, this cop car pulled up behind us about 5 minutes later.
Private security car, wouldn't it?
No, it was a police car.
Oh, a police car.
Because I think they'd called the police. And the police turned up and said, and just started asking us what we were doing there. Told them we were journalists. They said, well, you can't stay here. It's private property. You have to go. So we had to say, the only place we could finally find to actually watch the house from was a boat.
Right.
So we had to rent a boat.
Yeah.
We had to sit on this boat in the Intracoastal River. And there was his little barge out the back of it, called the Gambler or something like that.
Used to happen all the time.
Yeah, and so we spent about 4 days sitting on this boat drinking beer, watching this house that nobody was in.
No, that's right. Used to happen all the time. Now, listen,
got paid very well for
by
it.
the way, you've reminded me of something.
I tell you, getting a bit impatient towards the end of that story,
No.
so I hurried it up a bit.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
What you've reminded me about is that I came across over the weekend the search for Lucan stories.
Yeah.
Because now that Lucan has been officially declared dead, everybody's coming out with their favourite Lucan story.
Even though nobody's really sure if he is.
Nobody's even sure that he is these days. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But The favourite one was a guy called Garth Gibbs, right?
Yes.
And Garth, I worked with Garth on a few stories. He was South African, and he became chief foreign correspondent of the Mirror, believe it or not.
That's right.
When they had a chief foreign correspondent, and so I used to sort of bump into him on stories in Europe and like Africa and that kind of places. And he became the expert Lord Lucan hunter on the Mirror.
Right.
And he died in 2011, Garth. He was a great guy. As I say, he was South African, Cape Town, and all that sort of. He had a great, attitude
Very
towards life. Very raconteur at all. And what he used to do is, about once every 3 months, when he hadn't been abroad anywhere, he'd come into the newsroom, go over to the foreign desk and say very conspiratorially, I've had a good lead on Lucan.
Yeah.
Oh, where is he? Botswana.
Yeah.
Right, you better get out there quick.
Right.
But if he felt like a sunshine holiday, Bali. He's in Bali. Oh, right, you better get out there quick.
And they always just sent him, right?
They just sent him.
No question.
They never questioned him at all. And as he said in one of his last dispatches, thank God I never found Lucan, because as the great Sir John Junior, the Daily Express said, once you shoot the fox, there's nothing to hunt.
Yes.
So, make sure that you never find him.
And he kept this going for years, didn't he?
Oh, he kept it going for years. It was absolutely spectacular. On one time, they turned up a bloke in Goa, and they said, this is Lord Lucan. It turned out to be a guy called Jungle Barry, who was a banjo player from St Helens. but they were certain it was him. And every time they got close, there was one guy he worked with called Penrose.
Yeah,
now,
Barry Penrose.
Barry Penrose was married to Anne... what's her name, wasn't he?
Anne Diamond.
No, the other Anne, the multi-million pound
the weakest link Anne.
Weakest link Anne.
Yes.
What's her name?
Yeah.
Anne Robinson. Anne Robinson. I think he was. I think Penrose was.
I think he might have been, yeah.
Anyway, he eventually tracked him down, he thought, in Guam.
Yeah.
And so he thought he was being ultra smart by drinking with Lucan in a bar in Guam. And he said he had all the facial features. He said,
but presumably he didn't introduce himself as who he was.
No. He said he was a tourist.
And he didn't ask this guy if he was in fact Lucan.
No. He thought he was being very clever. He said he was an explorer, and he was in Guam to trace some, ancient beast or something like that, And anyway, when a guy went to the loo, he took his whiskey glass, and he immediately exited the hotel, and flew to the nearest sort of point of civilization,
which was
probably Hawaii or somewhere like that.
Right.
But on the way, because he took his wife with him, this is what these guys did. They turned family holidays into Lucan hunts, and then the office paid for them.
Yeah.
His wife washed the glass on the way to on the way.
Oops.
On the way to the police station in Hawaii, where they had a set of fingerprints of Lucan. So there are all these fantastic stories about it, which will all sort of go now because Lucan's now been declared dead.
Unless, of course, what might happen, although he's probably now would be very old, somebody will actually discover him, or he'll come forward.
Yes.
Like in his last kind of moments before he dies or something, to make his peace with his maker.
You're absolutely right.
It's going to be amazing.
Garth said that one of the reporters on the Mirror took a call one night, and it was a bloke who said he knows where Lucan is.
Yeah.
And so the night news editor said, well, Garth's our expert Lucan hunter.
Yeah.
Ring him at home and tell him all about it. He'll be wanting to get on his way as soon. So I rang Garth home and said, Garth Gibbs here. They said, it's the night reporter here at the Mirror. Yeah, had a call about Lucan. Oh, great. Yeah, well, what is it? They found him. Fantastic. Where is he? Newcastle upon Tyne. He said, no, that can't be him. Put the phone down.
It's not far enough away.
He had no wish whatsoever to spend the next couple of days or even weeks in Newcastle upon Tyne trying to find Lord Lucan.
No, exactly right. Now, a couple of people have said that you've got confused about Eccles the dog, because it turns out Eccles the dog is actually Ken Barlow's dog.
Oh, that's right.
Street.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've just remembered. Yeah, well done.
A couple of people have pointed that out.
Thank you very much for the observationary powers.
And then here's one from Les in Manchester. It says, Eagle was on ABBA's first album, Arrival, and to me was the best ever track.
Oh, really? Well, there you go.
I mean, I'm amazed I've never heard
the
it.
next track was Take a Chance on Me, and I don't think I'd ever heard that until I bought that LP.
Really?
Anyway, yeah.
And here's one from somebody who doesn't give a name. £77 is a fair price if it was a one-off thing like a concert, but to ask a regular working-class man to pay that for 38 weeks in a row to follow his local team, well, you wouldn't be paying it 38 weeks in a row, would you?
19 weeks.
I mean, you don't be paying it for half the number of home games unless you go to all these other things.
Imagine if you take your boy with you and you want to sit next to him.
Yeah.
£140 every fortnight. That's £280 a month. For 9 months, that's £2,700, that's £3,000.
Yeah.
And by the time you paid 40% tax on top of that, because the tax rates in this country are utterly disgraceful, that's £5,000.
Well, it's the VAT that kills most people.
VAT kills
but I mean,
it.
the other thing is that
average wage in this country less than £30,000.
Yeah, but the point is that sometimes, and I don't have any sympathy for Liverpool's owners, and I don't have any sympathy for the owners of football clubs who are charging an awful lot of money.
Neither do I.
But if they've got people that they think can pay that kind of money, then unless something like this happens, they will get away with it.
Yeah, no.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But we'll talk some more about that coming up, because we're going to speak to Dara Kennedy, who's the former president of the Liverpool Supporters Club in New York City. That's all coming up on TalkSport.
TalkSport, radio's #1 goal machine.
Charismatic, idiosyncratic and unpredictable.
On DAB, digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. TalkSport.
Lord Lucan is missing. Lord Lucan is missing. Lord Lucan is missing. Lord Lucan is missing.
Very timely song that from,
what's that
from
song?
John. Lord Lucan is missing.
Oh, really?
A band called the Dodgems,
Oh,
which
excellent.
I presume was
Excellent.
back in
Like that.
late 70s.
Yeah, I like that.
Here's one
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Steve. He
yeah,
says, why don't Liverpool fans buy 2 Mike's tour tickets instead? They could buy 3 for that price and still get change. Not a bad idea,
For what price?
For 77 quid, I
Yes, you
suppose.
could, actually. Yeah, you could, absolutely.
But there again, I mean, you don't have to do that every week. It's not necessarily a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That's true.
We had a very good night, actually, at the Hen and Chickens on Friday, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Right now, though, we're still going to talk about these Liverpool tickets and what exactly is going on with the Liverpool supporters and whether they're going to win this particular battle, which it looks like they might. Dara Kennedy, we haven't spoken to for a long time. He's the former president of the Liverpool Supporters Club in New York. Dara, very good morning to you.
Good morning or good evening. How are you?
Yeah, very well,
thank you.
Very well indeed. This is a fascinating little tussle that's going on. I mean, you must be, because you're there, able to see sort of, the reactions from the Fenway Sports Group at the same time as some of your old mates at Anfield.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are kind of obviously taking different sides of the issue, and nobody wants to see this happening, but there's obviously a lot of people are taking a big stand on this, and people are on both sides of the argument. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, what do they do when it comes to the Boston Red Sox? I know that's not necessarily a very easy sort of comparison to make, but the Red Sox are a very kind of traditional baseball team. They've they've got one of the oldest stadiums in the North American area. I mean, have they been under fire for doing something similar there?
No, it's an interesting point, but no, I think for the most part the ticket prices are what they are, and they've gone up over the last decades, as they have over in England, obviously, and people just pay it. I mean, people complain about it, but they still go to the games and they still spend lots of money on the concessions. So it just people just kind of take it on the chin and grin and bear it, and they've gone along to be able to see their team.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things people complain about, but still do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, Dara, do you guys get together as a group and come over to England to pile over to Anfield and, support your team there from first hand? And if so, what's the cost involved in that?
Well, it's pretty significant for us, and yes, we do, and we've done it for many years. We've been around since 1995, and we organised a lot of group trips over to Anfield. So I guess 10, 15 years ago was a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
You'd be able to get group tickets, and typically we try to get a European game or a cup game, so we get to see 2 games. And,
yes.
If you go back 10, 15 years, the airfare was a bit more reasonable, and you could probably do a 4 or 5 day trip for maybe about £900 to £1,000. Maybe it was a bit more reasonable. Now it's probably twice that much. And getting tickets as part of a group is near impossible because of the whole fan club and everything else that goes along with that. So not as easy to do. Not as many people do it. Part of that, I think, really.
And how sympathetic are the club to this, Dara? How much do they assist and help? Or do you feel that actually you've become a bit of a blinking nuisance rather than being welcomed with open arms like you were 10 years ago?
Well, I hope we're not a blinking nuisance. But, I mean, the number of tickets for the International Supporters Club as a whole around the world has declined. I want to say the number was about 2,500 tickets that was allocated to international supporters about 10 years ago. That number now is about 700-800 per game. So, when you think of the fact that they've expanded the international supporters all around the world, that just means an awful lot less tickets for members. So I used to send about 200 to 250 people over a season, and that number now is down to about 50 to 70 a season, typically because it's harder to get tickets, one, And then for us having to pay for the membership kind of doubles the price of the ticket, because the membership is about $70, $80 a season when you do the conversion. And the only reason the North American supporters buy that is to be able to have access to getting tickets. So it's tough, you know. Again, we've taken it on the chin and just do it, but not ideal, obviously, and not as open as it was 10, 15 years ago.
And what do you think the Fenway Sports Group's reaction has been? I mean, we've been told that last week there was this page on their website which talks about, it was a very corporate sort of looking thing, saying that how to turn fans into customers, and they've apparently taken that down now and decided to kind of reword the whole thing. I don't know if you saw that last week, but they've now called it something like turning customers into consumers or something like that. But I mean, they must have been taken rather by surprise by this mass walkout and the kind of support that it's getting.
Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't have been, though, really, right? So it kind of shows an ignorance of the Liverpool fan and the Liverpool mentality as a city, right? They're not going to take it. There's been boycotts before. There's been threats of boycotts. And from what I understand, there have been discussions for a long time with the supporters clubs over this. So it shouldn't have been a shock to them. And I think that's probably, for me, the scariest part of this is that they don't really understand, quote unquote, their customers, right? And,
exactly.
So I'm hoping that they back off now a little bit and at least enter into a dialogue,
Well, it seems as though, they cancelled a meeting that was going to be held last night with Ian Ayre, I think, who's the chief executive. There was supposed to be a Q&A session, and that's been cancelled. And Jurgen Klopp's now sort of entered the fray and said, that this is why, nobody wants this and it needs sorting out. So it looks like they're going to probably have to back down a little bit. But the question is, I suppose, what then do they do? Do they say, oh, well, in that case, the top price will be 67 quid or 57 quid? I mean, it's still pretty expensive to go to Premier League football.
Well, yeah, it is, and I think it's part of the bigger picture, right? It's not just Liverpool. It's the average person making an average salary cannot go to the game anymore or cannot get tickets for themselves and their families, and I think that's the bigger issue. From what I read, it's about £2 million they're going to make because of the £77, and in this day and age, £2 million is not going to really make that much of a difference to a club of Liverpool size or stature, at least it shouldn't. So I think the bigger picture is they need to look at, future generations of fans, right? Because as all of us get older and die off, I mean, if the young fellas don't go to the games, which apparently they're not, can't get in, can't afford it, who are the fans going to be in 20, 30, 40 years? And that's a question that's not being asked, not just of Liverpool fans, but of Premier League fans as a whole. I mean, people just cannot continue to afford it.
Very good point. Now, Darragh, one thing I would say is that the urgency now to go to Anfield, you were saying 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was a lot easier. Of course, these days, with worldwide television technology, you guys are all mingling, aren't you, in these lovely great pubs in New York and right across America to watch the games live at all sorts of hours of day or night. And I should imagine they are great occasions. I mean, it's almost like being at Anfield, isn't it? Watching one of those, getting a beer down your throat, a bit of food to eat and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 6:30 on a Sunday morning, it goes down well, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's been growing for many, many years now. We have great coverage here now where we have all the games basically live, not only on our televisions, but our iPhones and iPads and everything else. So we actually even see the 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon matches, which I believe you guys don't still see.
No, we don't, yeah.
So yeah, we do get the coverage, and our group in the New York group now, we've expanded to about 5 bars, and for the big games, certainly they're full, and for our main bar, the 11th Street bar, we're full pretty much for most matches. So it is a big occasion, and we have a lot of people coming out at all hours of the day, and 20 inches of snow and what have you to watch these matches, and it's a big celebration.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Because when I was living in New York, well, like Mike Parry was in the 80s, I mean, somebody would somehow get the ability to show a live FA Cup final or something like that.
Yeah.
And we'd all go to some
brilliant
kind of rundown warehouse somewhere down in Tribeca and pay sort of $15 to get in, and we'd all watch it down there. But we were actually looking at a place called the Football Factory, which I don't know if that's one of the places you go to, because we were thinking we might come and do a show over there.
Yeah, it's kind of a bar in Midtown that holds other supporters clubs, so some of the rivals. But we actually were there last year when Robbie Fowler and Ian Rush were in town, and they were very gracious to host us. Right. But if you go back again, there was only a couple of bars, and now pretty much every bar has the ability to show the matches. So the sport is growing in leaps and bounds,
Yeah, no, I think it's huge business now across America, because my team alone, I'm an Evertonian, by the way, Darragh, I think we've got over 60 fan clubs across America, and you're in touch with a lot of them all the time. It's the same for Liverpool, same for all the big clubs, including Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah, and probably after this season, Leicester City, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I'd say you're absolutely right.
Oh, I think they're becoming very popular in the Far East. I think,
exactly. Yeah.
So, Darragh, I mean, do you expect this to be? Because I mean, on a broader thing, there's a lot of support coming through now from the Supporters Federation and all that, and maybe other teams are going to take similar action, or at least they're going to try and put pressure on their teams. Do you think it's realistic? I mean, on away tickets, that's one thing, but is it realistic to sort of force these clubs into charging less money?
I think it's part of a bigger picture, right? So, yeah, I think it is realistic, but I think that all the fans of all the clubs have to come together, and there has to be a dialogue with the clubs themselves, not just for the ticket prices, as I said, but also to allow students and children and, families to get in together and have more access to tickets, because that's the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it's realistic, but I would have liked to have seen that dialogue take place rather than the fans walk out on the team, because for me personally, I just wouldn't endorse that. I don't think that's acceptable to walk out on the players, walk out on the team you love. It's one thing to send a message, it's one thing to make a point, but I think there's other ways I would like to see that happening. But again, we're not really exposed to what's happening behind the scenes. So I don't know what's been happening before this, but I would have liked to have seen all efforts before they actually took that action last Saturday, to be honest.
No, sure. Well, it'll be fascinating to see how it all finishes up. Darragh, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised by the numbers of people who actually did walk out, because I think... I think people were surprised by the numbers of people who walked out, because we've seen these threatened sort of boycotts before by Newcastle fans, by fans of other clubs. Blackburn did it for a while. And I think generally, Jamie Carragher's on the back of the Daily Mail this morning saying why I walked out with them.
Well, that's right.
So, I mean, it's been a massive
That's a good stunt, that. I mean, Jamie writes a column for the Daily Mail, so I think it was great for him to get in there with the crowd, and then first-hand he can explain the feeling. I think it's a really good journalistic move.
Good journalistic enterprise. We'll talk some more about that. Loads more stuff coming. Lots of tweets to read out as well. This is TalkSport.
Bienvenue au weekend sports breakfast avec Michelle Quinn and Georgie Bingham, the Talk Sport with Benno Vance. It's the breakfast show that cooks up a souffle of sport and a pan au chocolat of pre-match build-up every Saturday and Sunday morning on Talk Sport. The hors d'oeuvre to another big weekend feast of football. Hey, La, does anyone know the French from Repine? The weekend sports breakfast with Mickey Quinn and Georgie Bingham. Saturday and Sunday mornings from 7 on Talk Sport with Benno Vance. 4 years warranty and roadside assistance as standard. Ooh la la.
When you need some money but the bank says no, you wonder what to do. There must be someone out there who can approve a loan for you. The payments you can handle, of that you have no doubt. So give Amiga Loans a go. We're here to help you out. Just ask a friend or family member to guarantee your loan. And if they say yes, just apply online or call us on the phone. Within 24 hours, you'll have your cash in your bank at last. You'll find us super friendly, professional and fast.
To apply, you must be 18 or over, not bankrupt and be able to afford repayments. A guarantor is required who must pay if you can't. Representative 49.9% APR variable. To borrow up to £5,000, come to amigoloans.co.uk.
Whether you're saving for a new home or you've got a wedding to pay for, the money you're putting aside is perfectly safe. Protected by the FSCS up to £75,000. Should anything happen to your bank, building society or credit union, it's completely automatic, free of charge, and you'll normally get your money back within 7 days. You'll probably never need us, but it's good to know we're here. Search FSCS Protected to check you're fully covered.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking more about eagles, not just the kind that ABBA was singing about, but the kind that they might be using. Stop singing the song now. A couple of people have given us some info on it. Great to hear ABBA on your show, says Sam from Camden. Eagle was released as a single, but not in the UK. It got to number 1 in Germany, amongst others, and of course, Take a Chance on Me was number 1 here and in many other countries.
It was.
And somebody else was saying it was on the 5th.
Remember that Take a Chance on Me, Take a Chance on Me.
Very good song.
Take a Chance on Me.
Very
good
song.
Chance on on me. They were chanting that in the background.
They were.
Chance on me. Yeah.
Apparently, somebody calling himself Oates says Eagle was on ABBA's 5th album called ABBA the Album.
Oh, well.
It did not appear on Arrival.
Oh, well,
so,
there you go.
I don't know. Now, a couple of other things to pick up on.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Sox fan, says Patrick. Fenway Park is on the National Registry of Historical Places. It's its own marketing activization they exploit. Did you ever go to Fenway Park?
No.
You went to Yankee Stadium, though, didn't you?
I went to the Yankee Stadium, yeah.
There's
Fenway...
a new one now.
New Yankee Stadium,
There's a new Yankee Stadium now.
Yeah, have they knocked the old one down?
I think they must have done.
I think they have. I knew where it was.
Fenway Park was a pretty cool place.
Yeah. Look, you know these fans who walked out. Now, I ran into a bit of trouble over the weekend with another group of fans who walked out, and I'm talking about Manchester City fans.
Oh, yeah.
Because when Manchester City fans start walking out because their team are 3-0 down, I mean, they had 40 years of nothing, and then their sheikh arrived from the desert, and, quite rightly
Well, I mean, it's not right to say 40 years of nothing,
They did.
I mean, they were in and out of the first division, weren't they, at various points?
Let me tell you, the last time they won anything was like 1968, 69, 69, I think it was, wasn't it? When they won the FA Cup, and they might have gone on to win the Cup Winners' Cup, actually, after that, I think, in 70 or something like that. Yeah. But anyway, the point is, they had a long, long time without success. They got down to the third tier of English football.
Yeah, right.
So they get back and they get there, and now they've won 2 Premier League titles, they've won the FA Cup, they've won the League Cup, and now they're whinging that, in one game, towards the end of the season, when they're still, joint favourites to win the Premier League title, they'll be 3-0 down at home. They all start walking out.
They were getting outplayed, though.
I thought that was ridiculous.
It was
outrageous.
I predicted Leicester would win that game on the Selco Predictor.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know.
You must be the only person who did. But what I'm saying is, surely those fans should... Look, Manchester City have got tens of thousands of really good, solid, die-hard...
Many of whom have been with them in the third division.
Long-term fans, of course. And when they saw all the new brigade, at their new stadium, suddenly upping and offing because they were 3-0 down, they should have clobbered them and told them to stay.
Yeah.
They should have. They should have said, hey, you're not going anywhere. You're a plastic
Well, you can't
fan,
make
pal.
them stay by force, can you?
Well, they should have intimidated them and said, look...
I don't think you could organise that for
Because it looks terrible on television, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
It looks absolutely terrible when people are walking out of your stadium.
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. Lots coming up throughout the rest of the show. There will be a podcast coming out. Got a few tweets to read out. One from Mark here, who says, guys, can you wish my mate Steve all the best? He returns to the UK after 4 years down here in Australia. We're both massive fans. It would make our day. So there we are.
What's his name, Steve?
His name is Steve. Yeah.
Steve, welcome back to Blighty, old
I don't know,
boy.
why is he coming back? I mean, if you were in Australia, you might want to stay there, wouldn't you?
Well, no, I'd like to come back to Britain. I mean, look, Australia's a great country. I love going there, but, my home is in Britain. I'd always want to come back. And talking about that, right, now that gives me an opportunity to talk about Heathrow, because I'm getting increasingly worried that we're taking our eye off the ball.
Yes.
You do know...
Well, there was a big sort of petition or letter that was sent to Downing Street, wasn't there, on behalf of all the construction companies over the weekend.
What, saying build a new runway?
Say build a new runway.
Didn't know that.
It'll bring £15 billion worth of business to this country.
That should certainly happen, because I'm looking at reports here which say the battle to expand Britain's airports exploded last night as the boss of Heathrow justified the building of a third runway. Fierce Defence Chief Executive John Holland Kay warned the UK would fall behind Paris, Istanbul and Amsterdam. Right?
Yeah.
Holland Kay was given his first speech since the publication of a report by Sir Howard Davis, which recommended the building of a third runway at Heathrow. But the government have not yet moved on it.
No, they haven't.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because Mr Cameron, the Prime Minister, was part of a decision-making process which shelved the go-ahead for it.
They're known as kicking it into the long grass.
Into the long grass.
Yeah.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because the London election's coming up.
Right.
And the problem is that the Tory candidate, Zach Goldsmith, is against a new runway.
At Heathrow.
At Heathrow, because he's a very green sort of guy, doesn't like, emissions.
He's from that part of the world as well, isn't he?
He's from that part of the world.
Richmond or something
he
like
is,
that.
that's right. His father was billionaire financier Jimmy Goldsmith, the man who famously said, when you marry your mistress, you create a vacancy.
Indeed.
Absolutely, into Rogerisation and all that kind of stuff. But I've also found a report here, very influential report from the Times newspaper, The Thunderer, which says runway delays threatens Heathrow's leading role. Heathrow faces losing its status as Europe's biggest airport amid continuing uncertainty over a third runway. International hubs in Paris, Istanbul, Amsterdam and Madrid all grew much faster during the last 12 months, and may soon overtake it.
Yeah, but they've been talking about things like that overtaking Heathrow for ages, haven't they? And they said that all people will start using other airports and they'll be flying from Madrid or
let me
Dublin,
show you the figures.
or from Orly or something like that. But they're not. I mean, if you live in Britain, you want to fly from Heathrow, don't you?
Yeah, but if you're coming from America or another part of the world to go into Europe, you don't always have to touch down at Heathrow. You can touch down at Amsterdam. I mean, for instance, annual passengers in 2015 growth, okay? London Heathrow still has preeminently the most, 75 million. But over the last 12 months, that number only grew by 2.2%. Paris, Charles de Gaulle.
Yes.
Charles de Gaulle, 66 million, but grew by 3.1%.
Well, it's not much more, is it?
No, but this is where it gets worrying. Istanbul, Ataturk.
Right.
Why is it called Ataturk?
I imagine it's because they're naming it after an historical important figure from the Turks' history.
No, Ataturk was the man who invented and created Turkey.
Yeah, well, so
he was the original founder,
figure then, isn't he?
The founder of Turkey. Yeah, Ataturk. You know, he founded Turkey. Now then, the figures there are 61.8 million, but grew by 9.1% over the last 12 months, okay?
Right. Well, maybe that's all the people trying to get to Syria.
And get this. No, that's being cynical. That's being cynical.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of people going in that direction.
And get this one. This is the one that worries me most. Madrid Barajas.
Barajas?
Barajas.
Isn't it Barajas?
Madrid Barajas, okay?
Barajas, isn't it?
46.8 million.
I've been to Madrid Airport. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
I mean, everything's very, very far away from everywhere else. I had to make a connecting flight from Mallorca once. Nearly missed the flight.
Well, you did, because you've got to walk so far.
Yeah, even though it was only like there was an hour between landing and taking off. But I only just made it. Shocking.
I was going to Seville and I flew to Madrid to get a flight to Seville. And
did you?
Yeah, it was all open.
It's hardly worthwhile, is it?
I don't know.
Flight
I didn't
from
know.
Madrid to Seville was about 10 minutes.
I didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, now they have 46.8 million, but the growth over the last 12 months, 12%. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the smaller percentage from Heathrow is still a bigger number probably than some of these other places. And
yeah,
so
of course it
that's
is.
That's an amazing number, though, isn't it? 75 million people coming through one airport in a year.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Let me read you a few more tweets out as well.
Okay.
One from Matthew, who says, Labour MP John Stonehouse faked his death and went to Australia. The police there trailed him because they thought he was Lucan.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
they
quite
did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, here's one from Peter on the subject of tickets. He says, on a lighter note, on the cost to watch a game of football, I seem to remember about 12 years ago, the loving mother who on Christmas Day gave her husband and son, both massive Arsenal fans, their Christmas present of a season ticket each when they kicked off the previous August, he says.
Right.
But, I mean, that's the sort of thing that people could do, I suppose, in those days. It was a lot cheaper to buy.
Well, my first season ticket at Goodison when I was about... the first one I bought for myself when I was about 19... It cost £24.
Yeah.
I remember.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, things were a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And here's one from Alec at the BP garage in Birmingham. Put the EasyJet boss of Liverpool Football Club in charge. I bet he would bring down the prices straight away and still make millions for himself, and both parties would be happy.
Yeah, well, maybe. You know, I mean, that's the sort of thing that we need to look at. Now,
how about this one from Steve? He says, I think old MG should walk out of Talk Sport due to the endless abuse and interruptions he gets from Mike Parry.
No, that's...
Hashtag stand up for MG.
No, don't be silly.
Well, I'm not the sort of person that walks out on anything.
No,
so
exactly.
Believe that, if you wish.
And most of the time you can't walk anyway, so...
what do you mean?
Well, because your bladderation
Absolute
tendencies
rubbish.
over the weekend. What time did you finish on Friday night after our show?
It was quite a late night on Friday. I think it was about 2-ish.
2-ish.
Yeah.
You see, that's disgraceful. I was out of there by 11.
Why is it? No, that's because you live out of town. You have to get a train home.
No, I don't live out of town. I live in Okay, it's 20 minutes then.
Yeah, but you can't get a cab home, can you?
Yeah, could if I wanted to, but I preferred to get the last train home.
You chose to leave early, is that
Of course I chose to leave early. I didn't want to stay and get myself bladderated. By the way, I've seen some incredible pictures of the weather, and one still shot, which one photographer has taken, is Sennan Cove near Land's End in Cornwall.
Is that this one that's on the front pages this morning?
Yeah, I went there a couple of years ago, and there's
frightening, isn't it?
There's a magnificent restaurant halfway up the beach and sort of halfway up the cliff, really. You know, where, I've sat there many a time and got bladderated throughout
what were you doing in Cornwall?
A great summer's afternoon. I went down there for a few days.
Really?
And
holiday?
I took the family. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and it's a marvellous place. And to see a wave, about 100 foot high, sweeping over that very restaurant is somewhat shocking.
I saw somebody sent you a picture of Gosport as well, which was
they did.
Wild.
They did. That's right. It was very wild indeed.
Well, I was down in Sussex on the coast on Sunday. And I took the dog to the beach for a walk.
Yes.
And it was so windy and cold that when I came back, I had an earache.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Could be. Now that could be a problem.
Why?
Well, the reason you might have earache is that the middle hammer in your ear, the middle ear hammer, could be out of line. Seriously.
Well, it's all right now.
Gives you earache.
No, it's okay now.
Yeah, but in cold weather, you see, it exacerbates it.
Yeah, but I think it wasn't so much the cold.
I'd get your hammer checked out, mate.
As it was the wind, really.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. The wind sighs down your lug hole and wraps itself around the old hammer, and that causes pain, believe me.
Right. Now, here's one from Bernadine in Darwin again. She says, I've got ABBA Gold's Greatest Hits, a 3-CD collection.
Yes.
And the song Eagle is song 4 on CD 2.
Well, there you go.
Definitely recommend Mr. Parry to buy the album. You've probably already got Gold, haven't you?
I've got about 4 different ABBA, the best of ABBAs. In fact, somebody bought me one at Christmas again. I think it was my niece. Just to say, well, look, it's been re-digitalised or something like that. You know, the sound will be better.
Well, it sounds better.
So, okay, I said, have a look at that. Thank you very much indeed. Yes.
Okay. And what about this one from Russ in Birkenhead? Paul McCartney's also got a place in Heswall. Did you know that the Beatles are now known to contribute £81.9 million to the economy of Liverpool annually?
Yes.
And more than 2,300 people are employed either directly or indirectly in Merseyside because of the legacy of the Beatles.
Yeah, I did know that. In fact, I read those figures sometime over the weekend. Well, it's all for, people come from all over the world to visit.
Is that for like the Beatles Museum and everything?
Well, Matthew Street is like Beetle Street. They recreated the cavern and all the shops sell stuff. All the bars are called things like Hard Day's Night. Well, no, actually, the Hard Day's Night is the hotel just round the corner from Matthew Street, which is a marvellous hotel. I've stayed there. It's got a huge John Lennon mural and all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
And there is a Beatles Museum, which I think, correct me, people of Liverpool, if I'm wrong, which I think is down on the Albert Dock.
Yeah.
And of course people go there.
I can't correct you if you're wrong, because I don't know.
No, but and of course people go there. They are the most famous pop group of all time.
Yes.
And people would go there, and that is amazing, isn't it, to think that number of people are employed, even though 2 of them are now long dead, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely
it is amazing.
Now, lots and lots of other stuff coming up.
I didn't know, by the way, that Paul McCartney had a place in Heswall.
No, well, this guy says so.
I think lives there. It could be the same. I think his brother lives in Heswall.
And Mike McGear.
Mike McGear, that's right, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll find out. We're out of time again, unfortunately.
Okay.
Coming up very shortly, though, we're going to talk to an eagle expert over in Canada, I think it is. Somebody by the name of Sam Trentadew from the Ontario Falconry. What do you make of that?
I make a lot of it.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Hope you got some good questions, really.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
This Valentine's Day, you are the lover.
Okay, you can do this.
A specialist in seduction.
Just pick knickers, bra, anything. Oh no, shop assistant.
And your weapon
Can I help you?
is Moonpig. And now, for 2 days only, order 24 red roses and get £10 off with free courier delivery on Valentine's Day. Moonpig. Get it right.
Moonpig.com.
Offer ends 4 p.m. 10th of February. Geographical exclusions apply.
It's how London buys its cars. Car Giant.
To get behind the wheel of your dream car and to enjoy giant choice and giant savings, there's only one place you've got to go.
Car Giant, of course.
Car Giant.
Car Giant!
With up to 8,000 used cars in stock, don't dream it, drive it. Search our latest selection of vehicles now at cargiant.co.uk.
It's how London buys its cars. Car Giant.
Drive on Talk Sport, the UK's only sports-dedicated drive time with Sky Sports. The sharpest analysis on all the day's action from the giants of sport.
Shane Warne is with us on the show. How you doing, Shane?
G'day, guys. How are you?
Laser-guided comment and rapid reaction from a nation of sports fanatics.
Into the corner of the net.
Drive home with Darren Goff and Adrian Durham.
Who else?
Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports, the home of the Barclays Premier League.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
I don't know about you, but I do like my food served in dollops.
This afternoon from 1.
That's the unit of measurement I go for.
Talk Sport.
It is time.
Talk Sport, we are the 2 mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Winners and losers coming up. There's lots for us to discuss there. And a couple of more tweets have come in. Here's one from Steve. He says, now there's a thought. Porky on the edge of a cliff.
Yes.
I think we should start a poll. Jump, yes or no?
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? That is rather harsh. And in fact, actually, and this is all jokes aside, some poor chap from the RSPCA is missing after he did actually go to the edge of a cliff, and I think it was down in Devon and Cornwall, to try and rescue some birds, and he's been swept away, one thinks. It's a very tragic story.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of bad stuff going on. I mean, I drove up in the sort of very windy conditions to come up here tonight, and I mean, the South Coast unusually seems to have been hit much worse than everywhere else. But it is extraordinary. I mean, Imogen is not the sort of name for a storm that you would have thought. Again, I mean, we were talking the other week about how you said you thought Henry was a kind of a scary name, which I didn't think. I mean, Imogen certainly is not a scary name, is it? For any kind of a storm?
No, of course it's not. No, I wouldn't say it is. But I don't know why we have names for storms. It's just to give the Green Brigade greater evidence that, the world's changing. And
well,
all
it
that
does
kind
seem to be a lot more stormy this year than it was last year.
Well, yeah, but that happens about once every 10 years, doesn't it? It's all to do with sunspots around the sun.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Another Steve says, I should have permanent earache having to work with you every night.
Is that what they're saying, that you should have permanent earache?
Yeah.
I would say that my soothing tones do you a lot more harm than they do you. A lot more good. A lot more good. I beg your pardon. Do you a lot more good than they do you harm?
Sure you got that one in the right order?
Yeah, I'm certain I've got the one in the right order. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Here we go. Here's one from F, who says, I'm almost shocked by people ignoring ABBA and Beatles' blatant theft of other people's tunes. It's quite pathetic.
Well, what do you mean?
What he means by that?
Who's blatantly stolen what?
I don't know. I don't know whether he's accusing ABBA and the Beatles of stealing other people's tunes or whether people are stealing their tunes.
Don't know.
Kevin says he's looking forward to the Eagle guest. He said he saw a few today soaring overhead. I think he lives in Canada.
Eagles? Oh, well, if you live in Canada, you would see him from there.
And Liz,
absolutely.
you're a big fan, Liz.
Liz,
says, would you like my address so you can send me some flowers on Valentine's Day?
What?
She says, would you like her address so you can send her some flowers on Valentine's Day?
Well, Liz,
I'm coming to see you in Manchester.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not able really to get into the business of sending flowers out on Valentine's Day, as I have so many opportunities. Now, do you know what I was thinking about Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
I thought we are quite popular, and people do like sending us things in the post.
Right.
And I was going to suggest this to you, so I'm thinking aloud here, right? Okay. It might not be a good idea. You might have to knock it down.
All right.
But I thought, well, if a lot of our lady followers want to send us Valentine cards, we might donate £1 for every Valentine card we get to our favourite charity.
Really?
What do you think about that?
How many Valentine's cards are you expecting?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't think you're going to be donating that much money, to be fair.
Well, I mean, who knows?
How many Valentine's cards do you normally get?
Normally?
Yeah.
About a dozen.
A dozen?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
A dozen Valentines? And how many of those have you sent yourself?
No. These come from admirers.
Do they?
But I was thinking, if we said, go on, send us a Valentine for every one we get. Actually, £1 sounds a bit mean, really, doesn't it? I suppose.
Well, it doesn't sound.
I'm worried about getting 1,000. You see.
Well, I don't think you're going to get 1,000 Valentine's cards.
Well, how do you know?
Well, I'd be amazed.
Well, if we put out this generous offer and say, look, for every Valentine you send us, when is Valentine's?
It's on Sunday.
This Sunday?
Yeah.
Right, well, this is the challenge then. Put a Valentine's card in the post, please, to the two Mikes.
Yeah.
Or to Mike Porky Parry.
Or just to you, maybe.
Or to Mike Graham.
Yeah.
And if we receive them here and register them, we will send that amount of money to charity. How about that?
Yeah, well, it's not a bad idea.
From the two Mikes,
okay. All right, sounds good to me.
And actually, if it's not many, we'll add a few quid as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Do poison pen letters count? Because I might get a few of them.
No. We mustn't have any of those. No, that's minus £10 donation to charity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get any of them.
All right, there you go.
Definitely.
How about this one from Gary, who's an Everton fan? He says, Stoke City away was £30 for an adult and £17 for juniors on Saturday.
Okay.
He also received a voucher when collecting your tickets for free pie and soft drink. This from a club that has offered free coach travel for away games all season for their fans. Let's not tar all clubs with the same brush.
Is that right?
Well, that's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
Pretty good.
30 quid and you get a free pie and a free drink.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I was hearing a Leicester fan earlier talking about how, at their stadium, quite often they get free beer. They'll quite often get given, free scarves and things and banners to wave.
Really?
So not every club is, as Gary says, to be tarred with the same brush.
Very harsh.
Yes.
Now then, I want to tell you about my latest de-stressing practice.
Yes, good. What is it?
You boil a kettle.
Yeah.
And if you boil this kettle and concentrate on it, you can actually become de-stressed very, very quickly.
Because they tell you one of the things you should never do is watch a kettle boil.
Well,
because it never then actually boils.
No. Let me tell you. Right, what you do is you fill up a kettle and then you boil it, right?
Yeah.
Boiling a kettle, the most effective way of a calming technique.
Right.
But you've got to do it mindfully. You have to pay full attention to all your actions. As you lift the kettle to fill it, ask yourself, how heavy does it feel?
Yeah.
Do you fill it via the spout?
Yeah.
Or do you open the lid and put the water in the lid?
Right. Well, it depends on the kind of kettle you've got, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Is the lid stiff?
Yeah.
Pay full attention as the water swills out of the tap and into the kettle.
Right.
Does it hiss and bubble?
Yes.
Does the water smell? Does it have an odour? We're so accustomed to the smell of water.
Only if you live in Flint, Michigan.
No, hang on. We no longer notice it, right?
Right.
Spend a few moments thinking about how the water reached you. Was it rainfall that fell on the distant mountains you can see out of your window, trickling through the rock and... excuse
By
me.
the time you've done all that,
through
the
rock
thing will
and
have
soil
overflowed.
Until it eventually reaches a stream. Imagine the reservoir, the water treatment works, the pipelines. Now imagine all the engineers and maintenance workers who designed and built and maintained the water network.
Hang on, the kettle's full by now. You better switch the water off.
No.
Unless you've turned it on at a very, very low level.
Very low level. Now think of the people involved in producing and distributing the electricity. The people growing the tea or coffee.
Is this while you're still filling the kettle?
Yes.
But it's already full now.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. This all happens in a split second in your mind.
OK.
As you return the kettle to the work surface, so you filled your kettle now, pay close attention to your own movements. Were you aware of those movements, or did they just seem to happen? Now, listen as the kettle begins to heat. What can you hear? Close your eyes, drink in the sounds. See if you can notice the first stirrings of impatience.
It doesn't sound like you've de-stressed at all.
Yes, it is. Where in the body do they originate?
What?
Do they feel like a force trying to break out and exert control? Does your breathing become constricted?
Have you started shouting?
No. When the kettle boils, mindfully lift it, being aware of your breath as you pour the water, and then sip at your drink and enjoy the calm.
Well, you better wait for it to cool down a bit, or you'll burn your mouth.
After the thunderousness of the boiling, fermenting water in the kettle.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
I think if you were going to spend that much
good?
time doing something like that, you'd be better off boiling the water on the top of the stove, because it would take longer.
No.
And you'd have more to kind of watch, as it were. There's not much fun watching a kettle boil, because you can't see the water boiling.
No.
Whereas if you put water to boil on the stove, you can actually start to watch the bubbles, which might be in some way soothing.
Yeah, but I mean, that sounds great to me. I'm going to do that when I get home, actually.
That's going to take that's way too much time,
No,
surely.
it's not. No, it's not. No.
But it doesn't sound like you're particularly de-stressed, though, from that.
You are. You're just taking everything in. You know, it's called, like, super perceptive analysis of something you're doing.
Yeah, but if you did that for every single thing that you did around the house, I mean, it would take forever to do stuff.
Yeah, but you're not, are you? You're not. You're just doing it for that one thing, boiling a kettle.
Yeah. Have you ever boiled a kettle without anything in it?
In the old days, when I was a kid, if I ever did that, my mum used to go mad because the element used to snap inside, or something.
You have to get a new kettle.
Yeah, you have to get a new kettle because it didn't just blow the fuse or something like that.
Yeah, if you did it dry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah. But these days with modern kettles, that doesn't. You can boil it dry anyway.
Yeah,
because there's nothing in the bottom. There's no element.
No, well, it depends, doesn't it? You know how they now do these? Well, they have done them for years, but you know the sort of the high boiling kettle point of a big thing, like say half time at the FA Cup final or something like that.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I mean, do they still measure that, or have more people now?
I'm sure they do.
Got different kind of devices for because a lot of people have now got these hot water taps which produce boiling water.
Only 1% of the nation will have those. Yeah. Most people still boil a kettle.
Yeah.
But you boil it differently these days because it's cordless to start off with.
Cordless?
It doesn't have an element inside.
Yeah.
So it means.
I don't think my kettle's cordless.
Of course, it's cordless.
No, it isn't. Well, how does it boil then?
No, the actual vessel you lift off the base, is cordless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the old days, the kettle was connected to the plug.
Yeah.
And you had to put your cup near to the kettle and all that kind of stuff.
And it was one of the most dangerous devices as well, because actually it was quite, it was a very, very powerful electric current running through it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, we said many times on the show, haven't we, that if you want to boil a kettle in America, you usually put it on top of a stove anyway. They don't have electric kettles in America. And I remember the days, of course, as a kid, we had to boil our kettle on a stove.
Yeah. Like an old gas thing.
That's right, yeah.
With the whistler.
I remember the first electric kettle, that we ever had.
Yeah.
I remember the first fridge we had. I mean, this is amazing stuff, this, you know.
Somebody's actually tweeted in earlier about the Indesit washing machine that you bought, saying that there's still some kind of a warning on those, that you should be careful not to leave them unattended.
Really?
Yeah, because you know how there was a row some weeks ago because they would get spontaneously combusting.
Yeah.
So you might have to watch that.
To be honest,
so don't put it on when you're out.
I think it might be a Bosch. I think it's a Bosch.
It might be a Bosch.
I think it's a Bosch.
All right.
I think it's a Bosch, actually, yeah, because I think they They convinced me, like, Bosch is German, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I think it's a Bosch. Yeah.
That might be the one.
Got a German car, might as well have a German.
Brian says, Porky has just put me
machine.
off having a cup of tea with his bizarre rant.
No, not at all. I mean, what I was trying to do is focus your minds and tell you how you concentrate. There are other things you can do in this book I've got. For instance, if you only have 1 minute, be nice to someone else.
Yeah, that's a good one for you. You'd never be able to do that.
Experts call this loving-kindness meditation. That's LKM, OK? And neuroscientists have shown that cultivating a warm, kind attitude to others can make us happier and help us connect to people more easily, as well as improving your physical health, reducing pain, inflammation, and even boosting your immune system.
Well, this is what I've often said to you. If you're nicer to people, you feel like you have a nicer time in life, generally.
Well, the problem
and this is why you're so stressed out.
The problem is, I have been so nice to so many people throughout my life without any return emotionally, physically, financially, or in any other way that I've now given up on it.
Have you?
I've given up on it.
That's a very sad state of affairs.
Well, I'm afraid it is the state of affairs, OK?
OK. Here's one from Becky. Why does Porky shout when he gets excited and wants to get his point across? I have to turn the volume down.
Yeah, well, listen, what I'm saying about this this particular one, the LKM, Loving Kindness Meditation, what you do is with LKM, you activate part of the nervous system, right? Yeah. Part of the nervous system that increases feeling of calm and relaxation. Right. It allows your body to repair itself, improving blood sugar levels, slowing your racing heart. You have to be loving towards yourself. The next time you feel stressed or angry, take a look at yourself and notice whether your jaw is clenched.
Yes,
it's a
good idea.
Is your brow furrowed? Or is your breathing more shallow? Instead of getting more irritated, see if you can accept these feelings and lean into the feelings that you feel. Lean into them. Shift your attention to something pleasurable. Your hands are warm. Your face is soft. Make a point of noticing a positive sensation.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah, well, it sounds like a great idea for you. I think you should try it when you get home and then report back tomorrow as to whether it made you a little bit less stressed out. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about drones, a subject that you've been talking about for many a month.
Good idea.
Now the Dutch are doing it, but now the Metropolitan Police are thinking of hiring a few eagles to keep the drones under control.
Good
thinking.
Talk
Sport. Kick off with 100% football on Talk Sport, official partner of the Barclays Premier League.
Oh my word, he's done it again!
This Saturday afternoon from 5, exclusive national radio commentary of Chelsea versus Newcastle.
And it's slid in by Diego Costa!
With full updates of every single Premier League game throughout the season. Official partner of the Barclays Premier League. Talk Sport.
If I had the wings of an eagle, if I had the wings of an eagle, I would fly, fly away, fly away and be at rest.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and one subject that if you've been listening to this show for a long time you will know about is the subject of drones. Mike Parry, of course, alerted us all to the dangers of drones being flown into different places, football matches, restricted airspace, possibly places which needed to be secured for various reasons, anti-terrorism and all the rest of it. Drones are getting bigger and bigger and more voluminous all over the skies, and the latest idea for the Metropolitan Police is they're going to hire a load of eagles to patrol the skies and keep the drones from going anywhere where they shouldn't.
Good.
A lot of people have got different views on this. We're going to go to Sam Trentadue now, who's over in the Ontario Falconry Centre, to find out what he thinks about it. Sam, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. Good morning to you too.
Thanks very much for talking to us. Now, a few people in this country have got their concerns about this. They started doing this as a sort of test in the Netherlands already, and they seem to be quite happy about it. But some animal rights types have said, well, surely this is bad news for the eagles. What if they get hurt? What if they get injured in some, mess up with a drone in midair? What's your view about it?
Well, the possibility of them getting injured is definitely there. And injury, it will come to the talons. And the talons are the most important part of their feet. So, yeah, I would definitely be aware of that. As a falconer myself, I would never let an eagle go attack a drone. Definitely not.
So why, then, are people sort of putting this proposition forward, Sam? Because I like you, I feel it rather strange that a metal machine, controlled by remote control, should be,
should be attacked by an eagle.
Yeah,
why doesn't a drone? Why don't they get a drone to attack another drone? Why are they going to use an eagle for? Why would they risk an injury from a raptor? Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree. I mean, we're talking about flesh here. We're talking about tissue. We're talking about things that get easily destroyed by bullets and that sort of stuff. And I just don't understand it. But somewhere within the makeup of an eagle or something, there must be a reason why they think eagles are good enough to attack drones. What could that be?
Well, definitely the distance, the height, the aerodynamic of the bird itself. If the drone, let's just say the eagle is off and it's attacking the drone, and the operator of the drone acknowledges that, well, he'll try to get that drone to either try to outmaneuver the bird itself. Impossible. Just can't do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is ridiculous. There's rotating blades on drones, so an eagle goes anywhere near it, it's going to get chopped up. I almost guarantee it, because I saw something where a human being went to go grab a drone out of the air and had his fingers severed. So for sure, the possibility is there.
I mean, the difficulty, I suppose, in this country as well is that, eagles are, thanks to all sorts of reasons, not particularly native anymore to these parts. I think there's a few in small numbers below 10 up in Scotland. But one of the criticisms as well is that they're not really designed to fly around in urban areas. Is that right?
Well, no, you're mistaken there. I fly my eagles all over the place, all over Toronto, all over Ontario. Right. I could fly my eagle in a small little subdivision, and I can fly them in a huge field. So they're utilized pretty good in that area.
Yeah, okay. So they're very versatile, so they can do these things. How intelligent are eagles? How would they... I mean,
highly intelligent.
Would they know, for instance, that if they approached a drone, to approach it from underneath rather than on the top, so that they don't get mashed up in the propeller and all this kind of stuff?
No, they would not be able to determine that, no.
And would they also be able to determine the difference between, say, a drone that was flying in the air and some other kind of robotic device which might be on the ground? I mean, I'm thinking that if you trained an eagle to spot something like a drone, right, and then they saw something, say, I don't know, somebody on one of those hoverboards or something like that. I mean, they might think it's the same thing, right?
Maybe not. No, I don't think so. The drone itself, they're trained. I believe they're trained to attack the drone. No. I can train my eagle to attack pretty well anything I want.
Can you?
But yeah, definitely.
What, including people?
No, not people. People are not definitely on the menu. But there's possibilities, definitely.
That would be pretty good, that, I think, if there was somebody you'd fallen out with and you just...
Yeah, that would appeal to you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
An attack eagle.
Yeah, train one of your eagles to go and just scrape his head a little bit, for just to remind him who's in charge.
Now, I know, Sam, you said I was mistaken about your about flying eagles in built-up areas, but I'm using the words of somebody called Jemima Parry-Jones, who's the director of the International Centre of Birds of Prey here in the UK, and she says that you shouldn't fly them in built-up areas.
You should fly Terry? Sorry, say that again.
She says you shouldn't fly eagles in built-up areas.
I don't know. I don't know what she means by that.
Well, she means you shouldn't fly them in cities, basically.
Why not? I fly my bird in the city.
Yeah, well, I know, but I guess you'd have to ask her that. I mean, you're both in the same business, and she's got a different view than you have, which I suppose explains the difficulty here.
Well, flying is flying, so it doesn't matter geographically. It really doesn't matter where you're flying.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does if you're flying a drone. I mean, if you're flying a drone in the middle of a field where it's not going to hurt anybody, that's one thing. If you're flying it up and down a street where it might bump into any number of things.
I see. We're talking about the drone itself.
No, we're talking about eagles. We know where eagles fly is as important as where drones fly. Surely.
I tell you, there's always a possibility of injury. So if you're flying a drone up and down the street where it's populated by children and you're sending the eagle out there to capture the drone, first thing that eagle is going to do is going to capture that drone, is going to bring it down to the ground, and it's going to hover. Now, if there's anybody around it, it'll protect it. It'll protect the drone just like a widow would protect its own prey. So if there's anybody around, there's definitely risk of injury to that person.
Mm-hmm. What is the principle, by the way, Sam, of keeping eagles in captivity? I mean, do you regard them in captivity when they're yours and you've trained them and all that, or do they feel as free as they would if they were living in the wild?
No. Well, there's one thing. Captive bred birds.
Yeah.
So these birds are definitely not from the wild. They've been bred in captivity for hundreds of years. These birds would not exist if we hadn't have bred them. So these captive-bred birds that we keep cannot be released into the wild.
Yeah, I see. You know,
so do you keep your eagle in a, or maybe have more than one? Is it in a sort of a place where you don't keep it in your apartment, I presume, right? You keep it somewhere like in a farm.
No. Apartment would be a little bit on the small side for it. You would need an outdoor facility for your eagle, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
And what sort of eagle is it that you've got?
Oh, we have bald eagles, golden eagles.
Right.
Really? Golden
They're
eagles,
massive, aren't they? I mean, their wingspan is what, about 6 foot or something?
They're very big and powerful. Definitely a formidable foe, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Are the eagles thriving in the world, Sam, or are they
very much?
Yeah,
very much.
They're not under attack from modern man, from expansion.
Human beings are the only predator that it has.
Okay, but for the rest of it, it's all good.
And what do you feed them? Do they feed themselves? Do they just go out and get their own stuff?
Besides the occasional ex-wife, no. We'd have to feed them quail, fish. I mean, these birds are equipped to eat a variety of food.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
But they pick up bowls and things.
We'll
don't
see whether
fields,
the Metropolitan Police bring them onto the streets. Sam, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Sam Trenton, you there.
I mean, I must
quite
say,
a combative guest. That
no, a very good guest, and his thinking is along the same pattern as mine. How on earth can you put an eagle, which is made of flesh and blood and beak and feathers and a thinking brain and all that? How do you put that up against a metal machine that's got propellers on it?
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it might be very clever.
Idea.
It might be very clever at sort of diverting the drone or something. There might be something it could do.
Well,
it might even be able to pick the drone up and carry it off.
Oh, rubbish!
Why
I mean, the closer it gets to a drone, the more it's in danger of losing a wing or a foot to the propellers
I'm
on
not
the
sure about
drone.
that. I'm not
of course
sure about
it is.
that.
I think it's a ludicrous and ridiculous idea.
Well, the Metropolitan Police are looking into it.
Only you could be taken in to try and get an expert on to explain how it works, and for him in his first question to say, no, that would never work.
Well,
you can't put eagles up against drones.
Yeah, but he's already also said that it's all right to fly eagles in built-up areas, which his contemporary counterpart over in this country says is completely wrong.
Yeah, but he's an expert.
No, maybe some kind of rogue eagle man.
And you confused him by saying, eventually qualifying what you were trying to ask him, because you got him very confused, by saying, no, I'm talking about eagles chasing drones in built-up areas.
Exactly.
He wasn't. He was talking about eagles flying around in built-up areas.
No, I was talking about flying around.
And he sees no problem. He sees no problem.
Well, I think he may be wrong about that.
Well, he's not wrong about it. He's right, because he's an expert.
No, I see. Well, usually when we have experts on here, you say they don't know anything about their subject.
Well, he does know what he's talking about.
I don't know what's happened to you. I think since you had that boiling kettle scenario, you've had some kind of reverse ferret, and you've now started to be nice to everybody. This is Talk Sport.
At BMW, we believe being connected to the world is as important as being connected to the road. It's why the new BMW 1 Series with Connected Drive keeps you in touch, informed, entertained and safe. With advanced driver assist, intelligent traffic updates, Spotify and more. All from behind the wheel. How more well-connected can you be? The new BMW 1 Series. Pure BMW.
I know. The state pension is changing.
I know. How much you get will still depend on your national insurance record. And don't forget you may still have a private pension to consider too.
I know. I'll be able to see how much I'm likely to receive and understand what I can do to improve my state pension.
I know. If you reach state pension age on or after the 6th of April 2016, you'll be part of the new scheme.
Make sure you know the facts about the new state pension. Visit gov.uk/yourstatepension for more information.
Get a generous helping of the latest odds and tasty tips with Paddy's Punts every weekday afternoon from 4 on Drive with Durham and Goffey on Talk Sport with Paddy Power. You're welcome. With the form on the football.
What a game.
The going on the GGs.
And they're off.
The crack on the cricket.
6.
And lashings of Paddy's famous generosity.
Come on, give us a break. It's only a bit of crack, isn't it?
Get your tips while they're hot with Paddy's Punts. Weekday afternoons from 4 with Adrian Durham and Darren Goff on Talk Sport with Paddy Power. You're welcome.
Football Radio.
Sounds like this.
What an absolute screamer!
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up in the next hour, we've got winners and losers, of course, as well to talk about, and much, much more here. Here's from Becky, a tweet that says, eagles are fantastic creatures. With their magnetic brains, why can't we train suicide pigeons to take down drones instead? And here's one from Amanda.
Maybe.
Amanda says, if these eagles start knocking drones out of the sky and they crash into cars, property or people, who would be liable? which is quite a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question, but it couldn't happen. I don't think eagles can come up against metal flying objects. You know, it's ludicrous.
But
really.
even on a wider question, I suppose, if the police were using something else to redirect drones or to try and knock drones out of the sky, whether it be another drone, what happens if one of those things falls on your car?
Well, that's hard luck. You know, it's part of life, isn't it?
Did you see that story from, I think it was from the home county somewhere, where Raymond Blanc, one of Raymond Blanc's restaurants, there was a load of people dining out in this restaurant, I think it was on Sunday afternoon,
right?
And a big chandelier fell down on a load of people.
No, I didn't know.
Really
Did it kill anybody?
Well, no, but it put them off their lunch quite considerably.
Well, I just think it would, you know, probably fall in the middle of the table, wouldn't it? If it was
I
a
think it did.
like that.
Yeah. Very dangerous.
Yeah, pretty. Now, talking about restaurants, talking about Beaujolais, right?
Yes. Oh, Beaujolais, you were going to tell me it's the best wine in the world.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well,
shadow of a doubt. Well, all the experts that I've been reading about over the weekend.
That can't be right, because in the end, I mean, as much as a Beaujolais is not an unpleasant wine, there is no wine expert in the world who would say it's the best wine in the world.
No, it is. It's.
Well, who's telling you
I've been looking at here. World experts on wines. Take a bow, Beaujolais. Forget all you thought you knew. If you need some January jolty, crack open one of these deliciously underpriced reds, OK?
Well, who's this from, though?
This is from a wine expert. It says...
A wine expert?
Yeah, thin, reedy and mean. Just some of the words you'll hear used to describe wine from France's Beaujolais region.
Yes.
Fair enough, in the past, the Nouveau campaign produced some wine without much to love. Today in Japan, people literally bathe in the stuff.
They bathe in it?
Yeah, if you Google Japan Beaujolais bath, you'll see that people in Japan actually now adore it so much they bathe in it, OK?
Well, I don't think if you liked it that much, you'd want to drink it, wouldn't you?
But it says, but today, far from being only suitable to wash with the top stuff from the very best of the 10 individually named crew of Beaujolais, are not just deliciously underpriced, they are the perfect reds for taking the lighter route in January if you're still feeling the effects of the festive splurge.
Oh, OK. Well, they're not actually saying it's the best wine in the world, then, are they?
Oh, they are.
No, I think that's your exaggeration.
There's one here, right? Best Buy. It's a Trenel.
Is this from some shopping channel you've been getting this?
No. This is from a wine directory.
Right.
Wine directory. It says here, Best Buy, Trenel Fleury, from the Wine Society. It says floral with snappy red currant zip.
Right.
The silky gem with firm finesse is a steal at this price, £9.95. How about that?
10 quid for a bottle of Beaujolais?
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay that.
Well, you would for a good one like that. Now, the highest priced one in this range is the Morgon.
Yeah.
Now, I like the Morgon.
Do you?
Yeah. It's either that or the Fleury for me,
okay.
or the Brewy. I'll tell you about a Brewy in a minute. But the Morgon is described as dark cherry scent, delicate and deep. This is outstanding wine of persistence and delicacy. How about that?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've found something which is the complete opposite of that from imbibe.com,
yes.
which is for UK on-trade drinks professionals.
Yes.
And it says Beaujolais faces a tough future despite an exceptional 2015. They're saying that the wine this year is going to be good. However, they're going to continue to have a hard time. In spite of lower volumes, prices are not expected to rise. Growers majoring on Beaujolais and Beaujolais Village wines will probably continue to find life difficult.
Why?
Well, because people don't drink Beaujolais in the same numbers that they used to, because Beaujolais used to be this kind of very trendy thing.
It's rubbish.
Every November, Beaujolais Nouveau would come out, and loads of people would go and just drink Beaujolais Nouveau for a couple of months.
But
that doesn't happen anymore.
Rubbish.
And it doesn't sound, from what you're saying, that this is anything but a marketing push.
Right. Here's a Brewy, right? That's another member of the Beaujolais family.
Yeah.
Right? This is Brewy, tannic and firm wine to decant. What's your problem?
Well, because they're trying to convince you to drink it.
No,
this is not in any way any kind of recommendation.
This
for
has
anyone
been
who knows what you're talking
tested
about.
by experts.
By who,
it?
though? You haven't told me who.
Experts.
Who?
My wine directory. Now, tannic and firm wine to decant and unleash its splendour with a plate of charcuterie. What's your problem?
Charcuterie.
Yeah,
charcuterie. What do you think that is?
Or
what do you
age
think that is?
further. Charcuterie?
Yeah. What do you think that is?
What?
A plate of charcuterie.
Yeah, a plate of charcuterie.
Well, what do you think it is?
Well, that's sort of like nibbles and things,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, meats usually.
Meats, yeah, that's right. There you go. And then the top class one is, and by the way, that only costs £14.95.
What? £14.95? 15 quid for a Beaujolais?
Yeah.
That's ridiculously expensive.
And there's one here, it's the top class, it's called Cuvée Couvent des Torrents Château du Moulin à Vent.
Really?
Yeah.
Sounds very impressive.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. And this says, structured and bright as a red cherry, channeling the power of a cornet.
Well, maybe you're going to buy some Beaujolais.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got some news for you, an update on the possible wine tasting scenario that we might do.
Oh, yeah.
Which we talked about last week. I don't know if it would be a Porky quiz as such, but we've been offered some kind of sommelier's outfit to bring in and make it all kind of go very, very smoothly.
Okay, so that sounds good.
Would you fancy trying that?
What?
Bit of wine tasting?
Where? In here?
In here, yeah.
Studio? Yeah, maybe. Is it the right conditions for wine tasting?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we could try it. Right, it says here about these wines, these individual cru or gross broadly share granite soil planted with gamay.
Gamay grapes are nice, yeah.
Yeah, gamay, that's it, yeah, right, okay. But thanks to varying levels of erosion, you find vineyards and plots of varying elevations and aspects, creating a host of variety in these light, silky...
What are you reading from?
My wine directory.
What is your wine directory?
It's a wine directory.
Well, what is it, though?
Well, it's a book on wines, you know, and it's written by experts, right?
Okay.
So it says vineyards and plots of varying elevations and aspects, creating a host of variety in these light, silky, bright reds.
Yeah, okay.
Each cru...
Has this bloke got shares in Beaujolais or something?
No.
Sure?
No, he's an expert. Each cru... hang on. Each cru is slightly different from rich, spicy Morgon.
So solid. Cru.
To the Moulin Avant, to lighter scented Fleury, or vibrant Chiroublis.
Eh?
Chiroublis.
Right.
Winemaking.
So the next time we're out in a wine bar, are you going to be ordering some of this stuff?
I certainly am, yeah. Now, winemaking techniques matter. In the past, carbonic maceration saw bunches of grapes fermented under a CO2 blanket, giving the fruity light wines a curious aroma of banana. Banana.
Okay.
Now...
Banana.
Yeah. Many top winemakers now favour the Burgundian technique. Right?
That'd be from Burgundy.
Well, it says the Burgundian technique means fermenting crushed and de-stemmed grapes and even aging them in oak barrels, giving more complexity and richness to the flavour.
Right. Well, he still hasn't said the best wine in the world, though, has he? He's still kind of made that one up. Now, how about this from Dave? It's rather unkind. He says, if a drone fell out of the sky and hit your car, MG, it would cause £800 worth of improvements.
Yes, it certainly would, yeah.
Very
that's
harsh.
absolutely true.
And then Alistair in Chorley says, I try to be vigilant to the danger of drones by limiting my exposure to the droning on of that bloke at TalkSport who used to work at the butcher's, the Porkmeister.
Oh, right, OK, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed.
And
I will ignore that.
Chris the Villa fan says, Porky, how did your banker go at the weekend? You plank. We're Aston Villa, we win when we want. I know that's true.
Yeah, no,
but they did. That was your banker at the weekend. Yeah, against Norwich.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't think it was. I wasn't that certain they were going to lose or whatever.
Well, I think everybody was. I think everybody assumed that Aston Villa wouldn't win another game.
I think Norwich are on a 5-game losing streak now, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they're not doing terribly well.
Not looking good, no.
Right, we got lots more to talk about, and winners and losers, of course, coming up in the next hour. This is Talk Sport. Next game, Aston Villa against Norwich.
Yes, Aston Villa and Norwich. Aston Villa are hopeless now.
They are,
They're finished, honestly.
I can't really see Aston Villa winning another game.
No, I can't. I can't see them getting another point.
51 gone here. Aston Villa 2, Norwich City 0, and they are starting to believe here at Villa Park that the great escape might yet happen.
That's what happens when you have an Aston Villa fan that sits behind the glass, you see. He's been stalking us.
Yeah.
Not only did you say they wouldn't get another point, I said I didn't think they'd win another game.
No.
But there we are.
No.
Can't get everything right.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But it's been a surprising season, hasn't it? For all those,
it's been very surprising.
All those sort of reasons.
Very surprising. Sam in Camden saying, he says, best wine I've had in the last 10 years is Argentinian Malbec from 2012. It's outstanding, Mr. Parrish. You should try it.
Malbec.
It is very nice, this Argentinian Malbec. It's a much more rich drink than Beaujolais.
Yeah. I like Chilean red.
Do you?
From that part of the world, South America. Yeah.
Well, Argentinian Malbec's not dissimilar from some Chilean reds.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Why is this a wine directory and not a journal like everything else he reads? Says Dazza.
No, it's a wine directory. Talking about wine and the effect it has on people, there'll be a few managers taking to the wine, won't there now? Why is a spate of managerial sackings coming? Is it 14 games from the end of the season? Is
Well,
that
it
what
must
happens?
be, yeah. I guess once they passed the January transfer window, and, so they thought that they'd keep whoever it was on to see if anything new was going to work out okay. Particularly at Derby, for example, because one of the reasons that people say Derby haven't been doing well this season or this year, they haven't won a win in 7 games, is because somehow the new players that came in the transfer window haven't really made any difference.
No.
In fact, they made things worse.
What was his name? Appleton?
Eh?
The Derby manager,
Paul
Appleton.
Clement. Paul Clement.
Clement, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Right, so that's now opened the door, people think, for the return of old Leicester manager.
Nigel Pearson.
Yeah. He must
Are
be...
you an ostrich? Can you bury your head in the sand?
Yes, that's right. He must be the most perplexed and frustrated manager in the history of the game.
Why?
Well, if Leicester City do win the Premier League title this season... then many people will say it was the team that he put together at the end of last season.
Well, they would say that, but then the team that he put together was the same team that were bottom of the league for almost the entire season.
Yeah, but he got... No, in the last 10 games of last season, Leicester would have been Premier League champions.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Because they won about 27 points out of 30 or something like that, you know what I mean? That saved them from relegation, obviously.
Yeah.
And
but
then,
I guess the difference between what he did and what Ranieri has done is that Ranieri didn't have to have that period where they were hopeless for such a long time.
Yes, exactly. But he might take over now at Derby, which is, of course, the main rival to Leicester in East Midlands.
Yeah.
You've got Derby, Nottingham Forest, I should say, and Leicester City.
Yeah.
So that'll be a right old battle. Well, it won't be, because they're not in the same league yet, are they?
Well, they might be. I mean, that was the general idea.
Yeah.
But, I mean, bizarrely, and we might talk about this in winners and losers, I mean, Derby County's statement says that they weren't getting rid of Paul Clement because of the way that the team wasn't high enough up in the league, but because they weren't playing the Derby way. Which is a bit like when people say the West Ham way, or whatever it is they say
or
about
the West Brom way, or whatever.
But you wonder what that means.
Yeah,
right?
well, you do. I mean, the best way to play is to win. Not to really matter which way you're playing, then, does it?
Indeed. Roy says this: if Porky was the spokesperson for Beaujolais, they'd be out of business within a year.
Why?
I don't know. He
What does
doesn't
he mean by
explain.
that?
I don't think he doesn't.
Was he trying to make out that my descriptions of these wines and all that?
I think his point is you might be overselling them at this point.
No, I don't think so. I think I know what I'm talking about. I went on the Beaujolais run once, all the way from the south of France. Yeah, it was great fun.
Did you bring a load back?
Oh, loads of cases of it.
No.
Literally cases
Well,
of it.
you've probably still got some at home then. That was one you opened the other week, wasn't it?
No.
No?
I did have a cheeky little wine over the weekend, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one?
It was...
Because you produced a bottle of German wine again the other night.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Really?
Yeah, German Pinot.
German Pinot?
German Pinot.
You liked it? How much was that?
It was good. It was about £9.
£9?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The German Pinot Grigio?
Yes.
I think you must have been rolled. It must have been one of those late night shops.
No, I don't think so. No, it wasn't. It was Marks and Spencer's, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's more
I just
expensive
fancied a
than
German
most people.
Pinot.
Oh, okay. Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. We've got a few things to sort out. We don't have to do it today, of course, but we have to figure out a Porky quiz for this week as well.
Oh, I've sorted that already.
Have you? What are you going to do?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
Oh, that's very timely, isn't it?
She could be the next president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And a lot of my life in America in the 90s was surrounding, the Bill Clinton presidency and all that.
Indeed.
So I think that would be a suitable subject, okay?
Did you see, by the way, that mess-up that they had at the Republican debate where they were all supposed to walk on stage, where they got all the timings wrong?
No.
And they all ended up, piling up behind each other.
Really?
Which was very, very weird to see.
Was that including Trump?
It did include Trump, yeah.
Or was it the one that he didn't take part in?
No, it wasn't the one he didn't take part in.
Right,
He's now saying that one of the reasons that he didn't think he did so well in Iowa was because he didn't actually take part in the debate.
Yeah.
And so he won't make that mistake again.
Others said that he actually highlighted himself by not taking part in the debate and that it increased his popularity. Listen, have you ever heard of a guy called Paul Kantner?
Paul Kantner?
Yes.
What, Cantner?
Kantner.
Paul Kantner.
Does it ring a bell?
Wasn't there a Kantner that was a drummer or something for Kiss or something like that?
Well, no, but you're quite close. This guy was the co-founder of Jefferson Aeroplane.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right?
Right.
Now, it also says, and this is in coded language, Jefferson Aeroplane were at the forefront of the psychedelic era of music in San Francisco.
Yeah, White Rabbit and all that.
Well, what's White Rabbit?
White Rabbit is one of their songs.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Grace Slick.
Grace Slick. Now, she was the lead singer, wasn't she?
Right, yeah.
It says here, Kantner in 2013, and Jefferson Airplane in 1965, left to right, Cantner, Skip Spence, Marty Balin, Jorma Kakkonen, Grace Slick, and Jack Cassidy.
Yeah.
Now,
they were very much part of the whole sort of Summer of Love and
yeah,
San Francisco
right, yeah.
and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, this guy's died.
Yeah.
But
he died last week, I think, didn't he?
He died last week, didn't he? I'm reading his obituary here, that's
Right.
all. And it says, at the forefront of the psychedelic music scene. That means they were all cokeheads and off their... No, acid heads. They were all off their heads and acid. Right?
Yeah, well, if you listen to the words of White Rabbit, that's pretty much...
What's it talk about?
Well, it talks about one pill makes you bigger, one pill makes you small, and all that kind of thing. You know, it's like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah, it says in 1967 they hit Somebody to Love and White Rabbit.
There you go.
Written by Slick, that's Grace Slick, she's the lead singer.
Yeah.
And which included references to Lewis Carroll's Alice, with imitations of the LSD experience, became anthems of the Summer of Love. Airplane, moreover, were the only group to have appeared at the three great gatherings of the hippie tribes at the tail end of the 60s. That was Monterey, Woodstock and Altamont.
Altamont was the one where the Hells Angels were hired as security, weren't they?
And somebody got shot.
No, somebody got either shot, knifed, I think it was.
Was it knifed? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, well, Mick Jagger was on stage.
That's right,
Yeah, this guy was
Have you ever heard any of Jefferson Airplane, then?
No.
You probably would recognise White Rabbit if you heard it.
Yeah, I probably would, I suppose, but it was all
And then they became Jefferson Starship later on.
Oh, did they? I didn't realise the same group.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't get into that debauched sort of way of life.
They built this city on rock and roll. You must know that song.
Oh, is that theirs?
Yeah.
They built this city. They built the city on rock and roll.
Right.
They built this city. Was she singing that then?
She was singing that, yeah. It was all about San Francisco.
Rock and roll. Yeah, well, that was a great song.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy, right, now he went really off the rails because he was born in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So he was the son of... so he was like a local, you know. He didn't just shoot off to Haight-Ashbury when the Summer of Love happened, like everybody else from around the world.
He was already there.
He was already there. But anyway, he actually studied at the Santa Clara University and San Jose State College.
San Jose?
San Jose, that's right, yeah. Before dropping out to peruse music. But, I mean, he actually went to a school run by monks and things.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
What, like a sort of a monastery school, monastic school?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Well,
right?
Santa Clara was where they played the Super Bowl, funnily enough.
Yeah,
so there's an even more relevant kind of
that's right.
reference.
He went to a boarding school run by the Christian Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Who he claimed would broaden his education by giving him books on things like the Index Liborum Prohibitorum.
Really?
I think that translates in Latin as things not to do. In 1965, performing in the San Francisco folk club, The Drinking Ground, he met Marty Balin, and together they assembled a folk root band, and that was Jefferson Starship. So these guys have got quite interesting history.
They have, yeah. I mean, quite an interesting band, really, amongst all of these things.
Yeah.
Here's one from Ian, who's texted into 81089. Morning, gents. Who do these chairmen and fans think they are? They are deluded. The Derby way, the West Ham way, the Charlton way, the Swansea way, the Leeds way, the Liverpool way, the Coventry way. Deluded, he says.
We should all do it the Porky way.
Ian's from Manchester. What would that be?
In my view, sorry.
What would that be?
Well,
though?
just be right thinking about things. You know, just do things properly. Don't do things by vogue. Don't do things to impress.
Right.
Don't do things because you think you're saving the world, because you can't save the world. And don't do things just because other people do them and you want to be popular amongst your peers, right?
Certainly no reason for that.
No.
Ben says this: I think Porky's been suckered by mega hype from a bunch of wine merchants who've got a massive job lot of dodgy Beaujolais they can't offload. In any case, Beaujolais in general is a dodgy proposition.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The only white one that comes into the into this superior wines journal that I'm reading is Muscadet Sèvres.
Muscadet. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Muscadet.
I'm not Muscadet,
to be honest.
Bright as a chalky cliff, bathed in sunlight, this zinger is perfect for a weeknight wine.
Yeah, but I mean, if you read these people's advice, I mean, they never produce anything bad. So, I mean, I'm not sure that's definitely the best way to go.
It's like when people review cars.
Yeah.
You ever seen a bad review on a car?
Well, only on Top Gear. The old Top Gear, of course, not the new Top Gear.
Sure. But what I meant is, when you read all the reviews, every car is a brilliant car.
Yeah.
I mean, you never read a review about a bad car, because if you do, the bloke reading that review will never be sent another car by that company.
Well, I
to
suppose
review.
if you go through somebody like Which or somebody, if you want to compare the cars that way, maybe they do. I don't think I've ever read a review about a car in my life.
Oh, surely
I
you
mean,
must
in
have,
terms of,
you know...
in terms of like buying a car. When I went to buy a car,
no.
I just fancied buying a car, and I thought, I like that car, I'm going to buy that car.
I totally agree, but then again, if I see a review of something like a Lamborghini or, a Ferrari or something like that, I read it out of interest because I think to myself, yes, one of these days I will buy one of those, which am I going to buy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. But
so which one have you settled on, then? Which particular Lamborghini is the one that you like?
No, it wouldn't be a Lamborghini.
Wouldn't it?
No. If I buy the prize car that I've decided, is going to be the best car ever, it's going to be an Aston Martin.
Is it, yeah?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, I would concur with that. I think Aston Martin's a very nice looking car.
Do you know why I would never have a Ferrari?
Why not?
I would love to have a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think it'd be absolutely brilliant. I think it is the sort of Playboy's car, right? The Ferrari.
Yeah, but you don't want to be looking like a playboy in a car like that, do you?
Why not?
Why would you want to look like a playboy?
Well, because I have that sort of feel about me. You know
have
what I mean?
that feel about you?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
Well, I do.
What makes you think you're a playboy?
No. I have the spirit of playboyness.
Really?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Oh, it comes as a great shock to a lot of people.
But the reason I could never buy one or drive one is because the only Ferrari that looks magnificent is a red Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ferraris don't look good in any other colour.
No.
They don't look good in black, they don't look good in blue, actually, and they don't look good in yellow or anything like that. They only look good in blood red.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
And I cannot drive a blood red car.
No.
Because of my allegiances to Everton Football Club. I couldn't drive around in a red car.
No.
And so I wouldn't have a Ferrari, but you can buy a beautiful silver Aston Martin, which looks good in silver.
Yeah, it does.
See what I mean?
Yeah, it looks pretty good in black as well, actually.
Yeah, I suppose so, but black's a strange colour. It doesn't give off the curves of a car the way it should.
I quite like black cars.
And as for Lamborghinis, I always feel that when you see a Lamborghini, it looks like a blinking kit car.
It should be in yellow, really, shouldn't it, Lamborghini?
Yeah, Lamborghini should be in yellow, I agree. But it looks as though it's been put together by a couple of guys in their backyard and just put on the road.
Yeah.
They always look so frail to me.
Do you think?
Yeah.
They sound great, though.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard one, to be honest.
You must have seen them driving around in London.
Yeah, I've seen them occasionally, but I don't stand there listening to engines of cars. I've got better things to do, frankly.
Have you?
It's not one of these sort of, things that I'm into at the moment. Oh, I'll stand on the corner of Barn Street and listen to this Lamborghini going past.
It just so happens.
That makes me feel better.
The last time I saw a load of cars like that was when I went to Chelsea, at Stamford Bridge, and walking up the King's Road on Saturday. And every third car is either a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
It's probably a footballer who just found out he'd been dropped and was going home.
Yeah, maybe so. We got lots more coming up. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with working at night in a moment as well. But also, winners and losers coming. This is TalkSport.
A yes can mean a lot of things. Like sharing your life with the person you want to, not the people you have to. A yes can mean a dog, a cat, or even several of each. A yes can mean the start of a family and pencil marks on the wall as your children grow. It can mean, I love it here. I never want to leave. At NatWest, we understand that a mortgage means a home, which is why we say yes to a mortgage every minute. So what would a yes mean to you? Search NatWest Mortgages. Based on mortgage offers made January to November 2015, 9 to 5 over a 5-day working week.
In April, the government's new national living wage becomes law.
Workers aged 25 and over will be legally entitled to £7.20 per hour.
That's 50p more in your pocket for every hour you work.
It's a step up in pay. A step up for hard workers. It's a step up for families.
And employers will be stepping up too.
The government's new national living wage.
A step up for the UK. To find out more about the new national living wage, visit livingwage.gov.uk.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on TalkSport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, you get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion, and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick, or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off, weeknights from 7 on TalkSport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Please gamble responsibly.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
He gave me a look and I thought, oh no.
This afternoon from 1.
You've set the agenda for loose women, as you often do.
Talk Sport.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small, and the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall.
You recognise that?
Well, that's quite haunting, that is.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
I mean, I don't recognise it per se, but something in the back of my mind tells me I must have heard that over the years. You know what I mean?
Well, that's White Rabbit.
That's right.
And it is very much, if you think about what the song lyrics are,
yes,
all about sort of, altered perceptions.
Oh, absolutely.
Drug taking and
now,
that sort of thing.
Do you think there'll be a CD somewhere of Jefferson Starplane's greatest hits?
Jefferson Starship?
Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
No, Jefferson Aeroplane.
Or Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah. The same group, aren't
they? Will be, yeah.
Yeah, well, I might go and find that and get that, because that sounded okay.
Yeah.
That might be one I missed from the Summer of Love.
From the psychedelic era.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure you could do it. Yeah. Now, let me tell you about this working at night thing, right?
Oh, yes.
Now, there have been studies done for years and years and years, right? But here's one from South Korea, where they studied nurses.
Right.
They found out that nurses who worked the night shift were more likely to become obese.
Right.
Which is one thing. Another study of retired car workers in China found that shift work was associated with high blood pressure and diabetes.
Yeah.
Right. And a
French study. Excuses.
But a French study said that 10 years of shift work was associated with cognitive decline, equivalent to an extra 6.5 years of ageing.
Yeah, but I think these are all excuses. I don't believe all this.
You don't believe all this? You don't think working at night is having any effect on you?
No, not
really?
at all. Not at all. I only ever sleep 2 or 3 hours anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm working night, day, or anything else. As far as I'm concerned, life is just an ongoing series of blocks of 24 hours.
Right.
And you can get up and work any time you like within that 24 hours and lie down or whatever. I don't get all this, day, night and all that kind of stuff. And, for instance, the way I always defend this is if you were a young pilot during the Second World War... You worked almost entirely night if you were bombing Dresden.
Sure.
And you worked for blocks of up to 36 hours, 48 hours if you were a fighter pilot, because you had to be on constant call to get up in the air there and do it.
Yeah. Well, what they're saying is basically as long as you switch to a completely nighttime schedule, which is kind of what I try to do, then actually that's probably better for you. But otherwise, if you try and sleep when you're not tired or try and eat when you're not hungry, that's when the damage is done.
Well, anybody who does that's mad anyway.
Yeah.
Why would you go and lie down if you're not tired?
Well, because you know that you need to have some sleep.
No, you don't unless your body's telling you you're tired. And eating, again, I mean, only fat and obese people who like the feeling of filling their bellies go around eating when they're not hungry. They're mad.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think you're going to be, say, sitting in here for 4 hours or 5 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is, and you're going to get hungry, then you might want to eat something before you come into work.
No,
just to make
shouldn't
sure
do
you
that.
Don't get hungry.
Shouldn't do that because that interferes with your ability to speak and talk. I think I'm right in saying that on nuclear submarines, or any submarine really, in the US
presumably all
Navy.
Submarines are nuclear now, aren't they?
I would imagine
you wouldn't
so.
have a submarine that wasn't nuclear.
I would imagine they're all powered by. No, what I was going to say is I'm pretty sure they work 4 hours on, 4 hours off shifts during the whole time they're away at sea.
4 hours?
Yeah,
that's not very much.
No, I think that's the way you do it.
Really?
I think that's the way they do it. Yeah, because men can go mad underwater and all this kind of stuff. And
I wouldn't fancy being underwater.
And I honestly think that they work 4 hours and then they go lie down 4 hours and then 4 hours lie down 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then they have like 2 days off or something. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's that sort of shift work. So that doesn't affect.
But
people.
I don't think 4 hours on, 4 hours off. You wouldn't have a chance to get tired, would you?
I don't know. Apparently, whoever it is who worked this out says this is the best form of keeping men alert, and if you work longer than that, you don't.
Yeah, maybe so.
Now, are you a great... was there anything else you want to tell me there?
Not particularly.
Oh, no, okay. Now, are you a great sushi eater?
Not really, no. Not a big fan of sushi.
Apparently, this country is going to be flooded by Japanese chefs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the reason being is that the government of Japan in Tokyo believe that the level of the quality of sushi being served in Europe now is so poor,
really,
that it's giving the whole of the sushi industry a bad name and a bad reputation.
Right.
So they are training chefs to come to Europe to take jobs in Japanese restaurants to up the quality of the sushi. How about that?
Well, that's well. I suppose. I mean, it's very popular here. I mean, there's an awful. I mean, everywhere you go in London, there's a load of. There's a couple of sushi fast food joints where you can go and get what I'm told is very good sushi. I'm just not a big fan of it, really.
There's a place at Victoria Station. It's just literally a stall, and people queue up. The queues are miles long.
Yeah.
Just queuing up to get bits of sushi and put them into the.
You ever tried it?
No, never.
Never tried any of it?
No. It says here, fed up with foreigners failing to honour their cuisine, Japan is to protect its reputation with a tough new set of standards for overseas cooks and to send them around the world.
Right.
The programme will try to guarantee high-quality food at Japanese restaurants by giving chefs training in Japan that will lead to a gold, silver or bronze status and then sending them out to spread their skill around the globe.
Right.
This is a good idea.
Yeah, well, I suppose it is if you're a Japanese sushi chef. It means, but on the other hand, is there not really an immigration problem, though? Do you remember how there was a row about some Bangladeshi workers coming in to work in this country because they were supposed to be all chefs for Indian restaurants?
Right.
And a lot of them weren't being given visas to come in.
Oh,
so Indian restaurant associations were saying one of the problems now is that we can't get the chefs because the government won't give them visas.
I read about that.
So maybe these Japanese chefs won't get visas to come and work here.
I don't know. It says Rick Stein, right? You know who he is?
I do indeed.
All his restaurants are down in that place in Devon, aren't they?
In Cornwall.
In Cornwall.
Yeah, in Cornwall.
Padstow. Padstow, that's right, yeah.
Well, it's not just restaurants. He's got a shop there. He's got a couple of hotels.
Oh, okay.
And he's regularly on BBC doing various cooking shows. In fact, one of the cookbooks I'm going to have a go at next is his Southeast Asian cuisine.
Really?
Because I've got his Spanish cookbook, I've got his Indian cookbook, and I think this week...
You've got better things to do with your time.
Well, cooking is one of the things I enjoy doing with my time. That's one of the things I like to do. That's why I cook. Because it's really very creative. And he's got... So I'm going to try some Thai food. I'm going to try some Malaysian cuisine. Some Vietnamese cuisine as well.
Yeah.
And it's all in his book. It looks great.
Anyway, it says Rick Stein once... I've taken all that in.
All right.
Once fell foul of the Japanese after his attempts to prepare the food on his television programme, Food Heroes.
Uh-huh.
It led the country's ambassador to tell him he knew nothing about sushi.
Yeah.
He was invited to Japan to learn how to prepare it properly. Don't know whether he ever went or not. As a country that is home to the world's highest concentration of Michelin-starred restaurants, Japan takes its food very seriously. I didn't know that. Did you know there were more Michelin-starred restaurants in Japan than anywhere else in the world?
I did not know that, no.
In particular, Washoku. Right?
Washoku?
Washoku, have you heard of that?
No.
Washoku, a term used to describe traditional cuisine ranging from sushi to high-end kaiseki banquets.
Oh, right. I've heard of Kobe and Kobe steaks.
Kobe,
where that's where they massage the skin of the
for months
of the animals, to make the beef very, very soft. That I do like.
Kobe beef.
Kobe beef, yeah.
Supposed to be very good, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Now,
Quite expensive.
Japanese officials hope the new certification system, will remedy mistakes commonly made by overseas chefs, which typically range from mishandling raw fish and low hygiene standards.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Can't forgive that.
I think that's what kind of puts me off sushi generally, is that it's raw fish.
Yeah, and me. To overlooking the discreetly ceremonial way in which the food is presented to customers. So, there you go. It's a big problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, isn't that an amazing initiative for the Japanese government to take, to say the quality of sushi around the world is now so poor, we're going to start exporting Japanese chefs?
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Well, my daughter's very keen on sushi, and she says there's a couple of very good places in London, so I'll go with her.
Yes.
Maybe we'll drag you along and see if we can get you to eat something.
Yeah, not sure about that.
We shall see.
Not sure about that.
Here's one from Andy who says, hi guys, so Porky hasn't got time to listen to a Lamborghini engine, but he watches the kettle boil for 9 hours.
No, not for 9 hours. Not near 9 minutes, I would say.
And Dave says, on the subject of Hillary Clinton, I can see it now. Question 9, what's the population of Clinton, New Jersey? Yes. Question 10, who created Clinton cards?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can see all that.
Those are two good ones, actually.
I can see all that. Yeah. They won't be answered anymore. I'm not taking any more joke questions because the audience have reminded me that ridiculous question in the last quiz, which led to me not managing to boost my score to 6.
Hang on, to 6? No, was it not 3.5 you got?
No. I got 4.5.
You got 4.5? I thought it was 3.5.
And I claimed it should have been 5. And
that's what you claim every week.
And the last one I should have got 6. But anyway, that's by the by.
It's by the by. That's all in the past.
We'll have another quiz on Thursday night, and
it's all in the past.
I will once again, surge through. So
now,
don't worry
Marcus
about that.
says this: working nights has definitely messed up my eating and sleeping habits, and I've gained weight as well as always feeling tired.
Yeah, but you see, there's a big advantage to people working nights if they tune into Talk Sport and listen to the two mics.
That's true.
Because we are here to serve, and that is what we endeavour to do.
Indeed.
And I would say, to a large extent, we succeed. That's what I would say, OK?
That's true. Pete says, Porky, would you consider eating sushi if it was battered, frozen and in a box?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, maybe that is the difference.
And how about this from Simon in Burton? He says, Mike, why can't Derby County learn from their neighbours Burton Albion and back their managers and not sack them? 3 promotions, 3 league titles in 10 years. Burton have only used 3 managers, with Burton leading League One by 5 points. Who knows? Could Burton be playing Derby in the Championship next season? The Burton way seems to be working. Back them, not sack them.
could be. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? The people are saying, is Leicester's achievement going to be as great as Brian Clough's when he won the league title with Nottingham Forest? And, of course, it's Brian Clough's son, Nigel, who is in charge of the team you've just been talking about, Burton Albion.
Yeah, right.
He's the third of the three managers.
I guess you would not necessarily want to confuse the two, but, I mean, would you not have said that Nottingham Forest team under Brian Clough was perhaps a bigger, better team than the one under Leicester have got?
Well, we don't know yet,
No, but in terms of the players he's got playing for him.
Well, no.
I mean, they play brilliantly as a team.
Yeah.
But, I mean, would you get many of the players who now play for Leicester being sort of hijacked to other clubs? Well, I'm not sure you would.
Funnily enough, in the Daily Mail this morning, they did a spread, which I was very happy to see, and it said, meet the favourites to win the Premier League.
Right.
And the point they were making was...
Nobody knows who they are.
Everybody's heard of Vardy and Marner, you know, the two great...
Mahrez,
the two great forwards they've got. And people have sort of heard of Drinkwater and sort of heard of Huth because he used to play for Chelsea. Yeah. But we don't actually know who these players are.
Yeah.
Don't know who they are.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the Nottingham Forest players under Clough, maybe it's because later they became, big names.
They weren't
in
known
other
at
clubs.
the start, honestly.
Yeah.
They were not known. Well, they were because he'd brought them from Derby County. And some of them stayed with him 10 years, you know?
Right.
People like Kevin, the man who missed the goal against Poland in 74. Kevin. I'll remember his name in a minute.
OK, we'll get to that in a minute. Coming up next, though, it's time for winners and losers.
Croxteth Car Wash, all right?
Right, OK. They said it was a gamble, and it hasn't paid off.
What?
You don't gamble with 20 million quid, and he should pay with his job. It's the same old, the same old mistakes, and the same old excuses.
Yeah, you're right.
We're getting nowhere. We're on a downward spiral. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse.
Hello, this is a car wash, mate. We don't do football.
Sorry, I think I got the wrong number.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
If you seriously want to talk about football, don't call a car wash. Call Collymore. Cardiovascular comment, super opinionated post-match analysis at the speed of sound. Get it off your chest with the best. Call Collymore.
Sunday afternoon from 4, straight after Villa versus Liverpool on Talk Sport.
And now it's time for the winners and losers. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and it is that time of the week where we go head to head and see who is going to be victorious. It's winners and losers. The last couple have actually been a draw. So what we normally do is we vote up until midnight. If it ends 50-50, then we call it a draw. And if it needs to be extended, we could discuss that. We haven't discussed who should go first this time. So would you like to decide whether you'd like to go first with the losers or first with the winners?
I'll go first with the winners, please.
Oh, you'll go first with the winners. So that means I should go first with the losers then, right?
Or do you want to do the other way around?
I don't mind. I'm quite easy.
Right, you go first with the winners then.
I'll go first. Yeah, we're going to losers first then. Well, my first loser of the week is Derby County for sacking Paul Clement, the guy who came from Real Madrid. We hear all the time about how we're supposed to be, promoting young English managers and giving people the opportunity to get themselves into good positions in the Championship, so maybe they can become Premier League managers. After 8 months, with a 42% win record he's got, right? Yes, they've had 7 games without a win, but they're just a little bit off the top spot. They're 5 points away from the top of the league, and it just seems to me to be a pretty ridiculous process because they just keep doing it.
Okay.
And so Derby County are my first ones. My second loser of the weekend is Chris Martin from Coldplay. Coldplay was supposed to do the big sort of jamboree half-time show at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But instead of Coldplay doing it, he did about 1.5 songs and introduced Beyonce, who completely stole the show. And Beyonce came on. She's now been accused of doing all sorts of, Black Power salutes and all that sort of stuff. But, I mean, basically, at the end of the half-time show, he'd had her and a sort of complete army of assistants dancing around her, very scantily clad. Bruno Mars was brought in as well. And by the end of it, Chris Martin was sort of having to shove his face towards the camera in between these two people to try and make out that he was still part of the show.
I still think you can't describe that man as a loser. He was doing the half-time
but if you'd seen it,
the Super Bowl,
if you'd seen it, you would say so, right? Now, I was going to make Beth Tweddle and Jump one of the losers of the weekend, but since we've already talked about that, I should switch horses on that one, and I'm going to say Emmanuel Adebayor is the third one because, of course, he signed up to play for Crystal Palace. He's got a new haircut. And his first action was basically to give away a free kick on the outside of the area.
Yes.
And allow Swansea to score a goal.
Right.
So those are my 3 losers of the weekend.
Okay, yeah.
And now it's up to you.
Right, my 3 losers are, first of all, the Manchester City fans who walked out when their team were 3-0 down. I mean, after the years of success they've had and after the investment that the owners have put into that club, to suddenly abandon their team, abandon Mr Pellegrini, who everybody agrees has acted in such a dignified fashion, even though he's leaving at the end of the season, who brought them back the Premier League title, I think it was a disgrace for those City fans to walk out. I agree there's not many of you who walked out and that most of you are good City fans, but you should turn against those who are not. My second loser, and I'm afraid it's so obvious that it's almost beyond belief, is Gary Neville. Gary Neville's now gone 9 games in Spain without recording a victory.
And this time he lost to a team that were actually below Valencia.
Below Valencia, and almost now have overtaken Valencia. Right. The point is, he made a disastrous career decision to go into management the first time by taking this ridiculous job on the basis that he's a friend of Peter Lim, the man who runs Valencia. It was a shocking decision.
But have you noticed how many people are now coming around to support him? You know, George Graham was on TalkSport saying he doesn't think he's doing a bad job.
Yeah. Well,
we've had Graham Hunter from Spain saying, you know, it's not his fault, it's the players' fault.
Ludicrous. And my third, and this is getting away from sport, but he is a massive loser, is Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe, who is the Metropolitan Police Commissioner.
Yes.
This man has so messed up inquiries into allegations against prominent people from the past on the basis of one anonymous witness. Is Gary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who?
I was just the guy on the sort of the historical sexual attacks.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
And Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe allowed one of his top officers to say the man's allegations were believable and probably true.
Yeah.
They've all turned out to be completely false.
Yeah.
He's tried to wreck lives. He's I'm afraid now in a position where he probably won't be reappointed as Metropolitan Police Commissioner. Good, because you are a massive loser who has wrecked and disrupted people's lives, not fit to do your job, in my opinion.
He certainly hasn't made himself terribly many friends since coming down to London.
No.
From, I think it was Manchester he was the chief of police of before this.
No, he wasn't. It was Liverpool, actually.
Oh, was it Liverpool?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think he knows what he's doing in any event. Okay, so that was the losers. Now it's time for the winners.
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Your turn to go first with your 3 winners.
Right, my first winner, is the Leicester owner, Vichai Srivadhanaprabala. I mean, it's very difficult to pronounce.
It's not an easy name to pronounce.
It's not an easy name to pronounce, but this man is a billionaire. He bought...
He's Malaysian or something?
He's Malaysian. Yeah. He bought Leicester in 2010. Vichai Srivadhanaprabala. And the reason he's got to be the winner of the week, is because he recognised Claudio Ranieri could be a great manager when nobody else in the world did.
Apart from me.
Well, everybody else, all the Free Street pundits, all the analysers around the world said Ranieri won't last till Christmas and Leicester are going to be relegated.
Yeah.
Exactly the opposite has happened. He's a major winner. My second winner, I said that Manchester City fans were losers for walking out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to nominate Liverpool's fans as winners for walking out.
Right.
Because their protest against the £77 season ticket...
Bit of a double standard, that, isn't it?
It's not a double standard at all. I'm praising them for taking direct action against what is a corporate nightmare, and that is that the fans have got to pay for everything the club want to do instead of the TV money. And my third winner of the week... And again, this is an outstanding nomination, is the Southampton goalkeeper, Fraser Forster. He has had 5 clean sheets on the trot in Southampton's revival and now has to be a major, major challenger to Joe Hart's England shirt. He's in outstanding form and had another brilliant game at the weekend. They're my 3 winners.
OK, well, I mean, that's all very well. I would have said the Liverpool fans as well, and I'd like to still nominate them, not just because they won, by, it would seem, getting some kind of movement from Liverpool's board, because it looks as though something is going to happen and Jurgen Klopp appears to be on their side. But they're also winners because they didn't see their team collapse against Sunderland. They didn't see the 2 goals that went in that meant instead of getting 3 points, they ended up with 1. They didn't see Simon Mignolet's complete and utter capitulation and mistake-ridden display for the last 10 minutes of the game, basically. So I think they're winners all round. My second winner is the number 17. Now, I don't know whether you'll have spotted this particular story.
17.
But this is all about Massimo Cellino, who's the owner at Leeds, the rather eccentric owner at Leeds. You know how he's frightened of the number 17?
Yes.
And apparently so frightened of it that instead of having match day 17 in the club programme this weekend against Nottingham Forest, he called it 16B.
Right.
But guess what happened?
No.
They lost 1-0, right, to Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
Guess who scored the goal?
Number 17.
Yep. Castro Oliveira.
Yeah.
So the number 17 is going to be obviously very, very high in his mind.
I'm not sure how you can nominate that as a.
Well, so number 17,
winner,
which has managed to scare this guy who's the owner of a football club into not naming the number.
But you can't have a number as a winner.
Why not?
Well, you can't.
You once had butter as a winner.
No.
You did. You once had butter as a winner.
Butter is a thing. It's not a number.
It is not a number.
Anyway,
it is a free man.
Yeah, go on.
And then my final one is Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips is the man who was responsible largely for the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl against all the odds, right?
Sport that nobody in this country cares about.
Not true. Did you see the number of tweets that were sent out in this country over the course of the last 48 hours on the Super Bowl? They were in their millions, trust me.
Okay.
And he's the defensive coordinator, an old sort of haggard-looking guy, but he'd been around a very long time. And they completely and utterly, sussed out what Cam Newton, the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, was going to do.
Well,
and
I wouldn't have worked that one out.
Completely wrecked his entire weekend. And so I think from Denver Broncos' point of view, that was an incredible thing to have done. So those are my three winners. And, of course, you can now go to at the Two Mics and you can vote for either Mr. Parry or for myself. We'll keep the voting open until about midnight tonight.
Indeed.
And then if it's 50-50, we could call it a draw and move on to the next performance.
Yes, definitely. Vote Porky, vote often.
And, of course, there'll be no outside interference because we've managed to try and outlaw that.
Yes, absolutely.
So hopefully this will be as clean and ungerrymandered a vote as possible.
Of course
so we'll leave it down to all of you people out there to do it fairly and to do it in a very grown-up and adult fashion.
Indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. This is Talk Sport.
You are thinking about eating a family bucket of chicken by yourself.
Look, you can't read minds or predict the future.
Can.
What am I thinking then?
About leaving me on the hard shoulder.
Yeah. OK, what are tonight's lottery numbers?
I only use my gift for good. Oh, the car in front is going to stop. Now.
Tar.
You were going to say that.
The Toyota Yaris. Now available with Toyota Safety Sense pre-collision system. 0% APR representative and £900 towards your deposit.
It's like having a psychic friend.
Only better.
Toyota. Always a better way. Available on new Yaris, excluding active when flexibly financed through Toyota Financial Services. Conditions apply. Finance subject to status to over 18s. Indemnities may be required. Participating centres only.
The FA Cup live on Talk Sport with Regain for Men. The magic of the FA Cup continues on Talk Sport with live commentary of the fourth round replays. Tonight from 7, West Ham versus Liverpool.
And in front of the Bobby Moore stand.
Followed tomorrow night by full live coverage of Peterborough United versus West Brom.
Saido Berahino.
The FA Cup fourth round replays live on Talk Sport with Regain for Men. Facts, not fiction.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Ultimate Game Radio.
Talk Sport.
Locker Kalite Coco. Locker Kalite Coco. Locker Kalite Coco. Locker Kalite Coco, if it's called.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. I can't remember what that was from, what the reference was there. Locker Kalita Coco.
Well, I just
What was that?
I don't think
Live in La Vida Loca.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the actual chorus properly, you know. But anyway, there we are. Listen, I'll tell you what I've come across. This is interesting. I'm thinking of becoming a druid.
What?
I'm serious because, we should all have some sort of way of worshipping and all that kind of stuff.
Well, a lot of people don't think we should have any way of worshipping. Really.
Well, I do think we should have a way of worshipping, right? Now, the reason the druids...
I thought you were a Christian.
I'm a Christian.
Well, you can't be a Christian and a druid.
Yeah, druids are Christians.
Druids are not Christians.
What are druids then?
Well, they worship the sun, don't they?
Well, they still live a Christian way of life, put it that way.
Well, they've nothing to do with Christianity.
It is. Honestly, it is a form of Christianity.
They're pagans, technically.
Well, listen, I like the way they think, because what's happened is...
You fancy yourself as a pagan?
No, I don't fancy myself as a pagan.
Yeah.
They're thinking of having a mass protest at Stonehenge this year because the organisers... excuse me, have banned alcohol for the first time ever.
Really?
And the Druids won't have it.
Yeah.
Now, I like a religious sect that is actually fighting to be...
To get bladdered.
Yeah, that's right.
Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
fighting for the right to be to pursue bladderation. I really do.
Yeah.
And Britain's top Druid, who is, as you probably know, King Arthur Pendragon.
Yes.
Right?
I didn't know he was still around, actually.
He's still around.
He's been around for years.
Yeah, he must have been around in the days when you were in charge of things in Wales, right?
Yeah. Well, is he from Wales?
Yes, from Wales,
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, he's from Cornwall, actually.
Yeah, it's nowhere near Wales.
Well, it's on the opposite side of a bit of water from Wales. Now, he attended a public meeting recently, in which, you know, they were talking about new ways to marshal people at Stonehenge as the numbers grow each year. Yeah. And when they said, well, one of the things we think we're going to do is ban alcohol because of the disorderly nature of people after drink, he left the meeting. He stormed out. He said, not having it. This is against our religion.
Right. But, I mean, isn't the whole thing about Stonehenge all about the fact that the people that go there are not necessarily all Druids anyway? They just all go there for a bit of a party.
Well, I think there is a religious aspect to it. And he said, I have not fallen down drunk in years, but that's not...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Glad
to hear it.
That's not the point. It's a celebration, and he's talking now about the summer solstice, which comes up in the middle of the summer. And he said it's not an occasion that needs to be sanitised. But English Heritage, who have a say over this, said the plans followed consistent feedback about the event, which last year attracted a record 40,000 people.
Right.
And they were...
Because there's not 40,000... That's the thing, there's not 40,000 Druids in this country.
There's probably not 40,000 Druids, but I mean, there's sort of sun worshippers and those sort of people.
Well, no, they're just people that like go to Stonehenge for a bit of a bladderation party, basically.
Well, I think that should be allowed, shouldn't it? You know,
they're kind of on their way down to Glastonbury or something at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, that coincides, because this came from my nature journals, right?
Yeah.
With a bloke who's found a tree in his back garden. Now, you know how you and I are always going on about... how there's no trees in the New Forest.
Yes. Well, you're always going on about it. Because, I mean, the bits of the New Forest that I've seen haven't got trees in them.
No, they haven't got it. I drive across the top of the New Forest regularly. But
is there not another part of the New Forest that may have them?
If I'm going down... No. If I'm going down to Bournemouth or to see the family over there, and there are no trees. But this guy... For some unknown reason, he says, what I've got here is a 1,000-year-old oak tree supposedly used by William the Conqueror as a boundary marker for the New Forest, has been unearthed in an overgrown back garden. It says the 15-foot-high Doomsday Oak was found when Peter Deviney cleared woodland beside his home in Highcliffe, Dorset. Now, I know Highcliffe. That's just on the borders of Bournemouth, but I didn't know the New Forest extended that far.
Well, I guess it's quite a big area, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is. And it says, now he's learned of the legend, he has vowed never to have the dead tree cut down. He's going to make it a central feature when he returns the unkempt area to wild woodland in a celebration of William I.
Well, he shouldn't cut it down anyway, should he? I mean, surely it should be
if it's dead, you can cut it down.
Yeah, but even if it's dead, if it's a historical tree, then surely you should leave it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, what I don't understand this, because I made some inquiries, I don't know how he can possibly have had this knowledge that this was the tree that William Conqueror used as a boundary for the New Forest.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have a plaque on the bottom, you know.
Well, maybe it could get one, though.
I, William the Conqueror, declare this tree to be a boundary.
Well, that's because William the Conqueror didn't do plaques, really.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know how that all happens. You know, it's a wonderful world, the world of, what is it, nature?
Nature. Well, you could say that.
Excuse me.
So is that the suggestion, then, that all of the trees that were in the New Forest are now dead, and that's why there aren't any? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think there are any there. You see, the whole point about the New Forest is... Sorry, I missed Mr. Beat there on the old microphone. Yeah. The whole point of the New Forest is that it's not supposed to have trees in it because it's a hunting forest.
Right.
So if you've got too many trees in a hunting forest, you can't hunt, because if you do, you'll crash into a tree.
Surely if you cut all the trees down because you wanted to hunt, there wouldn't be anywhere for the animals to hide, so then the animals would go somewhere else.
They didn't cut them down. They just weren't there in the first place. They wanted, like, scrubland to run across. They just called it a forest to keep people out of there so they could go hunting. It's quite as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, in the end, there must be some parts of the New Forest that have got trees in them.
No, I don't think there are.
Sure?
I don't think there are. I've never seen any trees in the New Forest.
I may have to check this
which
now.
is a complete conundrum, isn't it, about the name of a forest?
Yeah.
Right.
The New Forest contains many lovely old trees that are reaching 200 to 300 years in age.
Yeah, but they're not clumped together in copse.
Oak,
they're just
beech, yew and holly.
Yes, but they're just random trees. They don't look like a forest. They don't look like... Now, when I was a kid, we used to go and We used to get our bikes, right? We used to ride to Delamere Forest in Cheshire. You've heard of Delamere Forest?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to go in there, and I mean, what a wonderland that was. You know, little streams running through it, big hills, trees to climb.
Well, I used to go to Hampstead Heath, which was a bit like that as well.
No, Hampstead Heath's not anything like the size of Delamere Forest.
Well, it might not be, but I mean, there's a lot of acreage there, and there's plenty of places to ride your bike, and that's where I used to do it. And also, it was a lot closer to my house than Cheshire.
Yeah.
That was one of the main reasons.
Yeah, well, I suppose it would be, obviously, yeah. Right, now then, get a load of messages. How are we looking on the initial winners and losers? Have you put the winners and losers
I have.
voting pad up yet?
It is now out there. It is currently 64% to you, 36% to me.
Well, look at that. That is fantastic.
107 votes
What a
cast.
start. What a... Oh, people, thank you very much indeed. And I think what I tried to do this week, instead of trying to brainwash the audience, not that I ever do...
Well, that's you've just admitted doing that
I just thought the quality of my nominations would be so high that you wouldn't be able to resist voting for me this week.
Yeah.
Vote Porky, vote often, vote
well,
the best.
I
vote
wonder
the
whether
best.
you should drop that particular slogan, because in a spirit of generosity and goodwill that we've now re-entered into, I think vote Porky, vote often is actually the wrong slogan.
Well,
because you shouldn't be encouraging people to vote more than once.
Well, I can't help it, because people like Ian says, yes, vote Porky, vote often.
Yeah, but that's the wrong slogan for an ungerrymandered situation.
And,
do you not agree?
And no. I think it's, all is fair in love and war.
No, but all
and,
isn't fair. That's how we ran into problems in the past. That's why we've tried to fix it, so that it's actually a fair vote.
Darren here says, I think MG's Wade Phillips nomination has swayed it for me, guys. Sorry, Porky, vote MG. Well, I'm sorry, but most of the country are listening to us. Most of the millions out there don't even know who Wade Phillips is.
Yeah, but sometimes...
So forget about that one.
But sometimes they listen to the show in order to learn things.
Yeah, there's one here from Dave.
Retread what they've already heard all day.
There's one here from Dave. He says, Porky, you get my vote for Gary Neville alone. That wins it for me. Great choice. So there you are.
Despite the fact that previously you've said that he would be a fantastic manager, which is what some people have said actually means that he doesn't really have any credibility.
Yeah, of course it does.
You said when he was appointed that he would be a fantastic manager.
I said that anything he did, he would do properly, but he made a disastrous error in going to Spain to try and start his first managerial job in a country where he doesn't even speak the local language. Ridiculous.
The local language. Hetty says this, if Porky was arrested for being a Christian in a communist country, he would be set free due to lack of evidence.
That's
which is
a bit
quite
harsh.
an interesting one.
That's a bit harsh. I think you do have to actually, when you're in foreign countries, by the way, you have to adjust your belief mechanism to accord to local customs and rules.
Yeah, certainly.
In
many places where you go into different places where they have different religions,
yes,
you should abide by their their sort of mores and their ways, particularly if you want to visit their places of worship.
Yes, well,
but that's
right.
one of the problems is at Stonehenge. You get all these people who are not druids turning up for a massive sort of party, and all they want to do is probably get high and drink an awful lot of stuff.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it, but they're not druids.
No, well, there you go.
World Traveller says the Leicester City owner is Thai, not Malaysian. The King Power Stadium is named after his company.
Exactly, Thai, yeah. Now then, Becky in New Zealand, an old friend of ours, obviously listening, says, Porky all the way this week. Rated both his winners and losers better than MG. City fans and Liverpool fans clinched it. So there you go.
Yeah, very good. Well, I mean, as ever, if you win it, I'm more than happy to congratulate you. I would never accuse you of gerrymandering it unless you actually had done.
And Sean says, Porky's winners, outstanding. I'm an MG man normally, but the Porkmeister gets my vote this week. That's excellent, isn't it?
Good,
This I mean, the feedback now is terrific.
Well, I'm glad it's making you happy.
Lee says Porky gets my vote. Oh, this is wonderful news. Wonderful news. I like it. I like it. Well done.
Well, very
done.
good indeed.
Right.
We've got lots more to do. Not an awful lot of time to do it in, of course. The Porky quiz is going to be on Hillary Clinton this week, and we've got Porky Vision coming up. And also, of course, Ask Porky tomorrow, where you get the chance to help an awful lot of people with their various problems.
As I always do.
And we'll be making a few announcements maybe before the end of the week as well.
Listen, I've got an amazing story here to tell you.
Yeah.
Do you know that a fire service, the Derbyshire Fire Service, have spent £300,000 on a specially adapted truck with a lift on it, which is designed specially to rescue fat people from houses.
Really?
They're taking so many calls now, the fire service, and they have to do things like knock walls down, pull windows out, knock door frames out to get these fat people.
Is this a sort of a device for getting them out of the house physically, or for actually transporting them after they got them out?
Getting them out the house physically, you know, with a girdle and a brace and all this kind of stuff to lift them. Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service forked out for the truck, which has been fitted with a mounted crane because of a rise in the number of emergency call-outs to help the obese. The brigade defended the purchase, saying £280,000 for the equipment is vital to their operations because obesity rates in the UK are soaring.
So is it like one of those extendable ladders with a platform that they can put up then and somehow is more...
No, you know when you see lorries that are carting bricks around and they have their own crane on the top of the lorry?
Yes.
It's exactly like that.
Oh, OK.
So
how does that get people out of the house, though?
Because somehow they can, like, swing the crane over and it can go through a window or something like that and lift them up.
Blimey.
It says the service has also spent thousands on tarpaulin-style stretchers and straps to help crews move the obese. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
Right.
It's absolutely amazing.
Well, that is bizarre, isn't it? But, I mean, funnily enough, I was going to talk to you about this story earlier on, but we didn't get time. We may explore it tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's been a new study coming out in America where they say, actually, you know, we've talked about the BMI index and all that, and how the BMI index is responsible largely for people being termed obese.
Yes.
Well, some studies come out over there saying, actually, it's all wrong. So, you know, millions of people who've been told that they're obese are actually not obese, which is kind of what we knew at the beginning.
We see pictures of kids all the time who look perfectly healthy to us, whose parents have been told your child's obese.
Exactly.
Make sure it loses weight
but
at school.
in the same way that adults are told that, because if their BMI index is over some number, like whether it's 25 or 27 or something like that, that you're somehow, an obese person.
It's unbelievable.
So that would mean, presumably, that they'd have to rechannel some of the money they've been given to the obesity campaigns.
I suppose so.
Anti-obesity campaigns. But there's no doubt, I suppose, that there are some very, very much bigger people than there used to be.
Oh, absolutely. It says here it's part of the fire service's bariatric rescue system. That's for those of overweight people, usually involve helping the East Midlands Ambulance Service to get patients into a position where they can be treated.
Right.
Recent examples include freeing someone trapped in their chair and taking freeing somebody from their chair with the crane.
In the middle of a fire?
With the crane.
Dear God.
Just to get them out of the house for medical treatment.
Yeah.
And taking the patio doors and a side gate off a home so someone could be moved into an ambulance. Fire crews have also been required by the region's coroner to move overweight people who had died, which is even more difficult because you get no response from the body.
Yeah, but presumably it's not as difficult because if somebody's already dead, you've got no kind of duty of care to make sure that they survive.
No, but you've got to treat them with dignity
no, of course you have.
If they're dead. And what I'm saying is they cannot then assist the movement of their own body because they're dead. There's no life in the body.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Amazing some of the stuff we get up to on this show.
It is.
Sadly, we are out of time. The latest voting is 59% to you, 41% to me. 167 votes cast. Try and keep it under control, all of you people out there. Try and only vote once. That would be good. And we'll declare a winner coming up soon. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
Now, winemaking techniques matter. In the past, carbonic maceration saw bunches of grapes fermented under a CO2 blanket, giving the fruity light wines a curious aroma of banana. Banana.
Banana.
Yeah. Talk about skiing. Old Beth Twaddle.
Tweddle.
The poor girl has done her back in.
It's not Beth Twaddle.
Well, Beth Twaddle.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
You can't watch Manchester United versus Liverpool on the front of a dishwasher.